What's up, Fortnite fam? The new season means new loadouts for FNCS. Let's break down some of the most common loadouts based on your role in your duo, starting with the IGL.
The in-game leader, or IGL, is responsible for calling and mapping out your rotations, guiding your teammate, and often tarping. The IGL holds a vital role in guiding the team to victory. A proper loadout is a huge key to that success. This season, we have seen them focus on having one close-range weapon and one distance weapon for surge tags, then the remainder of the items will be heals. The most common loadout is the drum shotgun, first assault rifle, and then a variation of heals to fill the remainder of the slots. This combo, however, doesn't cover everything, but that's why you have a fragger on your team as well.
The fragger is responsible for getting crucial tags and eliminations throughout your game. Now, the loadout of the fragger is all about fighting and ending fights quickly. This is why we often see that the burst assault rifle is swapped out for the combat SMG. Meaning that in this role, you'll hold two weapons designed exclusively for close range engagements, while the rest of the slots are dedicated to heals. The fragger loadout often includes the striker pump shotgun, the combat SMG, and then a variation of heals. The ability to clean up fights quickly and effectively leads to this loadout being a top pick among the more aggressive players.
After hearing the different loadouts and roles, which ones are you choosing in your next game? Until next time, we'll see you on the battle bus. Beep beep. What's up, Fortnite fam? Chapter 3, Season 2 is here, and the island is changing. Let's talk about some of the most notable changes, starting with the addition of the blimps. In the start of the season, we saw the island skyline get swarmed with an array of IO blimps across the map. These floating ships bring additional loot on board to each of the areas they exist in. They also allow for the ability to fly and redeploy from the wings. These blimps can be found in Command Cavern, Coney Crossroad, Tilted Towers, and Rocky Reels. There's another blimp on the south coast, however, you'll have a hard time rotating from this one. Also, we can't forget to talk about the addition of the siege cannons in these areas. While they don't solely exist on the blimps, you are guaranteed to find them there. These siege cannons allow you to propel cannonballs towards your enemies, though that's not all you can do. You can also use them to propel across the map or into enemy builds, this providing another great rotational tool for competitive play. However, the blimps weren't the only addition this season. We also saw the addition of an entirely new POI in the fortress, as well as some new IO bases.
The giant drilling machine known as the fortress is located in the central part of the map. Although the fortress isn't the biggest POI, it still packs a punch. Both inside and outside the fortress, you can find several IO guards, along with Dr. Sloan. If you can find and take down Dr. Sloan, you can grab her mythic striker burst rifle. Be careful, Sloan won't go down without a fight. Then, step inside to find 3 IO chests, along with plenty of other loot scattered throughout the POI. When you're ready to rotate out, simply jump into the siege cannon up top, or hit the launch pad that spawns on the outside of the fortress. Multiple other outposts popped up across the map. You can find IO buildings scattered across the island. They vary in size and utility, but all of them include more loot. You can add these locations to your drop, or drop here to start your games.
Over on the south side of the island, another new addition in the form of Synapse Station has emerged on the island. There are several chest spawns throughout the POI and ample ammo boxes giving enough loot for multiple duos to land here. The best part of Synapse Station is not the loot though, it's the mobility that comes with the POI. 3 different rifts have the chance of opening, which gives you easy movement into the zone. Another addition you should be sure to add to your rotations are the mini craters that have formed across the map. Inside these craters is usually a handful of chests and shield barrels, which is just enough to provide one person with a full loadout. Although, not every crater is the same, with some having a slurp truck and reboot van inside. That crater is located just southeast of Broadcast Bunker and is home to both. With craters seemingly on every side of the map, it also offers a saving grace to those who either prefer the scavenger routes or got pushed out early because they had to retreat.
All of these map changes will surely keep you on your toes. Make sure to dive in and explore the map. Until next time, we'll see you on the battle bus. Beep beep.
Yo, what's going on, Fortnite fam? It's your boy Zeke. We're here. We got Reese. We got Levin. And we're going to talk about Chapter 3, Season 2 preview. Let's jump into it. Guys, what are your initial expectations coming into the competition?
I'll tell you what, end games are a lot of fun with the new mechanics in terms of just seeing how things play out. Last season, everyone's always trying to get some sort of pepper, right? You know, you want to be able to move a bit faster in the end game, get to your destination that bit quicker.
Now what we've been starting to see in the duo cash cups in the start of the season is players are able to use the mantling when they've got like low materials, sneak up into players' boxes from behind, tack sprint behind them, just like pick up easy eliminations from players that wouldn't expect it. So like now you have way more options when you just have no materials, have nothing.
Let's talk about that for a second, right? We have these POIs. If last season felt really chaotic, right? We had these duos landing there, these head-to-heads that we just were like, why are you still going back there? What is the point of this? And now you put a blimp on top of that. So we've taken chaos from like a 10 to an 11.
We all know the struggles that people have in terms of trying to get surge, trying to get a good position on the map. Being able to sit up on a blimp and just sort of ping people from far away, it works wonders, you know what I mean? So that is going to probably be one of the biggest factors in how these new competitive games play out.
Think of the amount of vision you have across the whole map then when you're on top of a blimp. It's like, it makes rotating so much more difficult.
We're talking about the nerdy lines of sight. In terms of the blimps, there's just more loot on the map now.
That's true.
Right? And so we have POIs that were already very attractive POIs to land at, but even more attractive now, right? And there's sort of an extra incentive, an extra spot at a lot of these POIs for a new team to get involved at.
Is there any duos in particular you guys are kind of like looking forward to? I know right now we're kind of still in this state of shakeups, right? People are still trying to lock in who they think is the right duo for them.
I'm a simple man. I see Tayson. I like you know what I mean? And I'll be real, looking back at last season, of course they did well in terms of placement, but looking at the circumstances, they had the best POI on the map. And I think a lot of people would have expected the two best players in the region, two of the greatest Fortnite players ever, to do better.
So I'm really looking forward to Seti at the end of the day, right? Seti is just so good. He's one of the hardest workers in the scene, hands down. Now he's teamed up with Cammy. They won FNCS throughout Chapter 2 Season 8. They look super strong. They've got this incredible dynamism that we saw back then. Last season, they weren't playing together. It didn't work out that well for both teams. Now, Cammy and Seti back on it together, looking good in the cash cups. They could be that winner again.
It'd be criminal to not talk about the rise of Queasy and Hen in terms of just how great they've been, you know, last season and this season. Hen is someone who gets slept on in the GOAT conversations. And when you're talking about who's the best Fortnite player ever, Hen will be thinking, I'm only one away from catching up to Tayson in FNCSs, right? Like, I'm there, I've done it with multiple different people as well. Put some respect to my name.
Guys, I love talking with you both. The insight and unreal. But it's okay. We have to get ready. The battle bus is all warmed up, which means we're jumping in all the action right here, right now. EU. Let's get this popping. Beep, beep. Beep, beep.
I'm so hyped to be back for FNCS.
I'm really excited and I can't wait to win it.
I'm so hyped to be back.
I'm pumped up, I'm ready to go. I've put in all the preparation and I got this.
I've put in a lot of hours to make sure that I'm at the top.
Well, I've got so much experience that it's just gonna make me unstoppable.
My IGL is off the charts this season. They don't know what's coming.
My duo and I are both excellent fighters. We have great synergy.
I know I'm one of the best IGLs. I've got the best aim of anybody here. I've planned for everything. I know what's coming.
I am so sick of getting second place and I finally want to win FNCS this year. I know I got what it takes to win. Just gotta do it.
FNCS was over for everyone the moment I qualified.
I've won FNCS twice, but I like the number 3.
Watch out, we're coming.
FNCS, let's go, baby.
Let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen, Fortnite fans around the world, welcome to the Fortnite Champion Series. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to possibly the greatest Fortnite competition you'll ever see for the rest of your life. It's just today, but it's not just today. It'll be for the next few weeks. That's right. It's the FNCS. My name is Zeke. I'll be your host here for Europe, and it's a pleasure to have you here. If it is your first time here for real, I'm excited that you're here, and you're going to be watching some crazy Fortnite action like you've never seen before. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, Zeke, that's crazy. You're just going to run a whole show by yourself? Yes. There is no one else here with me. Don't worry about it. No, we actually have two members here that will be joining us on the analyst desk. First off, let me introduce you guys to the legend himself. It's Boop. And, of course, Reese right there sliding.
You said,
I didn't know he was going to do that.
Yeah, no, you said that, I wasn't going to be here. You can't do it by yourself, so I just wanted to give that feeling that you weren't by yourself,
Yeah, this is what happens. So this is the European broadcast. I'm going to do a lot of laughing the whole time because I can't contain myself around these two incredible human beings, but we're here to talk about Fortnite, so let's get this poppin'. First off, Legends Landing. What's up, baby? It's great to see you. If you've never hopped by, you need to check it out. There's some cool box fighting elements. There's a Hall of Champions, and you can hang out and watch this broadcast with your friends in Fortnite. Do it. Check it out. All right, let's talk about the broadcast schedule. So what does it look like if you're like, man, Zeke, I'm really enjoying this Fortnite action. When you guys doing this next? Here it is for you right here. Today is qualifier number 1. Now, do keep in mind, we actually have 3 regions going on today. So this first one is Europe. Later on in the day, we'll have NA East, and then we'll have NA West. So come back at different times in your own time zone. You might be able to catch more Fortnite action. Qualifier 2, May 8th. Qualifier 3, May 15th. Semifinals, and then mark your calendars for the finals. Come back then. I'm telling you, you won't want to miss out on the action. But Reese, how do we make it to the finals?
I mean, there's only, I was going to say only one way. That's a complete lie. And only one way today, and that is getting to the top 5. So we've got 50 teams. Out of those 50 teams, the teams who make it into the top 5 will advance straight through to the finals, where all of that juicy prize money is. Every other player will get series points. And then guess what? We're going to do that again on Sunday and again the Sunday after that.
Yep, but who really cares about those qualifiers? It is all about today, the actual format of this finals. And with the format, we know that this is a very heavy placement format with 32 points per placement point. There we go. 30 points for your victory royale, and your first placement points coming in at top 35. But remember, it is 3 points per elimination. So it is going to be a lot of variety, a lot of different types of gameplays, a lot of different game styles, and it should make this finals very, very exciting.
That's right, man. A lot of different ways here to kind of make it into that top 5, right? Can your duo pop off, get these eliminations? Can they place well, make it to those end games, or do both? That's what we're looking to achieve. Now, our qualified players. So these will be the players we're actually watching compete here and now. Reese, anybody stand out to you right away?
I'm in a bunch. You've got some of the biggest names in the region. Anas, Pink in the top left. Andlix, Xweez, top middle. Tayson, Uguay, which is Chapix. Juriki, iDrop. We have the who's who of X, FNCS champions, and Current in there as well with Henning Queasy, as we see there too. A lot of names that I'm looking forward to. Mustache Malabuka, one that didn't have a amazing season in terms of FNCS last time. But hey, this time is them to prove why they're some of the best duos in this region.
Yeah, you can name all the pro players, Reese, but I want to shout out some of the underrated players. Naku and Dan coming all the way from Spain. Jackson and Vico, the German players who had an incredible season so far, and I'm expecting them to do really, really well as well today.
Absolutely. If we move over to that next page, we'll see the other half of the players that we have here indeed. And similarly, a lot of these are the players who've just been putting in tons and tons and tons of work this season, who have popped up and have done super good. One right in the middle, who I'm looking at right now, Vortex and Janice, placed extremely well last season from the memory 4th. I don't know if that's correct. It's probably not off the top of the dome. But again, they're looking super good. They are contested off Spawn and Greasy Grove today. So we'll have to see how they end up actually playing that out throughout the games. But again, a team I definitely want to keep my eyes on.
I like it. I like it. Very quick there and to the point. I mean, one duo you did not mention there, Reese, was Mr. Savage and Benji Fishy, the crowd favorites.
Of course.
I know. How could you forget? Fun fact, in case you didn't see it all over social media, we just had a media day. We brought some players in, had some time with them. They played some games. We had some interviews. And check this out. Levin got to sit down with Mr. Savage and conduct an interview. So let's take a look at In the Lobby with Mr. Savage.
What's up, everyone? My name's Levin2K, and I'm in the lobby with the one and only Mr. Savage. It was always clear to people you were a bit of a prodigy, right? Did you think to yourself, I could be like the best pro player in the world? Like, what was your mentality all the way back then?
I started watching these top streamers, right, like Ninja and Tifu at the time.
Yeah.
And then I was watching them and I was like, I feel like I could do the same that they're doing. So I started streaming and then it kind of just took off from there.
One of my earliest sort of stories that I have of you was you said, like, we got to grind every single day. We got to keep pushing. Even if we can't compete now, eventually we'll always be able to. Like, have you always just had that mentality of like, just we got to grind no matter what?
I've always had fun playing the game, so it's been really easy, you know? I've kind of just been grinding since the start.
If you're grinding non-stop, right, do you make much time to do things outside of Fortnite?
It's been kind of hard balancing it, but I feel like I've done quite well with like social life, and then it's kind of hard.
Yeah, understandably it can be quite hard. Well, somebody whose career I definitely think you helped jumpstart, Benji Fishy, right? You know, you obviously started playing with him back then and you've become one of the most famous duos you've ever had in the game. When you first met Benji and you were playing with him, did you feel like you two could be the dominant duo you went on to be?
I was like, bro, I gotta do it with this guy.
Yeah.
And then we started playing, and then, you know, it just went well instantly.
Couple World Cup qualifiers later, and you know, things, you know, sort of paid off.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, speaking of World Cup qualifiers, you're one of the few Fortnite players that's played on land. Do you just sort of have no nerves in that sense? Like, are you just stone cold? You can just go out there and really just dominate wherever you are?
I think there's just something with lands that makes me like more in the zone, because it's like you're there, you know? So I think it's something with the atmosphere that just makes me really like focused.
You live for the atmosphere. I can tell, man, the way you carry yourself, you live for the atmosphere. Who's the one player who you sort of look at and you go, yeah, like he's a serious player, like that guy is top.
Probably Tayson. We haven't seen him on land though, but I think Tayson's gonna be good on land as well.
If you had to retire tomorrow, what would be the one thing you want to do in your career before you retire?
Of course, I'm not an FNCS champ yet. Also the World Cup. I want to give another shot at the World Cup.
Fair play, man. So we'll be rooting for you this season. This could be the season where you finally do pick up that FNCS title. Where can the people find you, man? Where can they catch you, watch some of your, you know, gameplay if they want to check you out?
It's at Mr. Savage on all platforms: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Insta, Twitch, everything.
Got the branding everywhere.
Yeah, of course, bro.
You gotta have that, man. Honestly, bro, it's been a pleasure. It's been Levin2K and Mr. Savage in the lobby. Thank you for hanging out with me, man.
Thanks for having me.
I don't know if you guys knew this, because I actually discovered this on Media Day. Reese and Levin have bodies. There's no way you do that tweet. You just stole that. You gotta give them that credit. Give them that credit. You said it and I couldn't not.
Oh my.
Wow, thank you though, Levin, for hanging out with Mr. Savage. That was in the lobby. And if you like those kind of player pieces, trust me, there's a ton that will be coming out over the course of the FNCS in all the regions. So make sure you check them all out. They're super, super great. So guys, let's talk about duels that we will be seeing compete, where they'll be landing, potential just things. Maybe if someone's never seen Fortnite, let's just give a few duels to kind of keep eyes on. Let's start things off with Pink and Anas. We know they just ended round 3, which is won yesterday, in first place with 190 points. They're landing over there at the Command Cavern, and they were 8th last FNCS. So, I mean, Reese, what do you have to say about this duo?
Yeah, these guys are really experienced now this season, right? They're very comfortable. They put in the work to practice. They understand the meta, and because of that, like, they are game winners. Look at this. Yesterday, out of the 7 matches they played, 4 victory royales with an average placement of 3. Like, I think they had a second, a fourth, and another game that was a bit of a throwaway one in comparison. Unbelievable performance from them. What I want to know is, with a lot of the, obviously, caliber in this round is a lot higher. We've got a lot of top-level teams. You know, Queasy and Hen, the running champions, are also a height team, so in the end game they play up high ground, very similar to Pink and Anas. So it's like, will they be able to keep that performance today? I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's a battle for them to survive against the aggression, right? So many good teams in this lobby. But, you know, they also had a really slow start to the season, but they sort of picked it up. Obviously, now moving away from their draw spot of the Llama Spit over to a Command Cavern, a lot more different situations to get aggressed upon and a lot more things to go wrong. But, you know, they're the team to be the most prepared, so I'm expecting a lot from them.
Maybe they know something we don't, right? Maybe they've done their homework. They're ready to kind of have several plans of attack if something does fall through. I'm curious to see how they kind of develop coming, especially from that last season, right? Let's give you guys another duo to talk about. You actually touched on them, Queasy and Hen, right? This other high ground team that we just, every time we look up, we feel like it's just them up there. other high ground team that we just, every time we look up, we feel like it's just them up there. They're landing north side of Sleepy. Talk to me about this duo.
So, Queasy and Hen won last season's FNCS duos, but most importantly, they also qualified through qualifier number 1, right? So, if trends are anything to go off of, today's going to be a really, really good day for these guys. Now, I've looked at the stats from them from yesterday. Obviously, similarly, 1 victory round, but they are game winners. This is not exactly very replicant of the way that they play, but what this does show is the fact that these guys can play other styles that aren't just high ground, right? Like I just said, Pink and Anas, they're game winners. They take height in endgame, and they usually win from height. But if they don't get it, their games aren't usually as good as guys like Queasy and Hen, where if they're on the mid ground, they can absolutely still frag out.
Yeah, and they went into the season with a bang. 2 back-to-back duo Cash Cup wins. However, the last Cash Cup they placed only 12th, right? And that was after the removal of cars after this last patch, sorry. And, that's a little bit worrying for them. But, these guys are champions, they're FNCS winners, and they have no problems adapting when it comes to the pressure.
Let's pray for North Zones for them,
hopefully.
Yeah.
Others will get some tweets.
We'll see. We'll see. Let's talk about this last duo. At least for this moment, it's Tayson and Chapix. They're also landing at the Command Cavern, but they're landing more on like that slurp truck side. They kind of, I'm pretty sure they're newly formed, right?
Yes. So that little area we saw there's the split of Tayson Thomas HD, if you've watched previously, from a solo Cash Cup. Amazing clip by Tayson, by the way. Just that one out there to get it done. And right now, it's like last minute change. So Tayson Chapix, we haven't really seen them play as a duo for very long at all. But they won the Grand Royale, right? They won with Hen last season. So we know that these guys can play well together.
Yeah, these guys, they're uncon on that southern side of Command Cavern, so consistency is just going to be the name of the game for them. Can they sort of get away from all of the players in there? Can they avoid players trying to go for that vault card as well? And if they can do that, these guys are 2 multi-FNCS champions. They should have no issue today just running the map.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I like this Command Cavern talk. We got to keep talking about it because there's another duo that lies in wait in the shadows, in the depths of the cavern. It's Malabuka. So really, we kind of have 3 duos sort of landing on top of each other, but it's a very vertical POI, right? So there's a lot of opportunities to kind of say like, okay, look, we just want this half. You guys stay over there. We'll do our own thing, right, Reese?
Well, here we go. Firstly, I'm going to put a little correction in there, because right now it seems like we may have 5 teams landing in Cavern, right?
Oh!
My boy Maxime on Twitter, he always does all these drop maps, shows where people are landing right now. And just hot off the press, we may also have Raisin and Peanut in here as well. So as you can see right now, there's 4 teams there. That last minute, potentially a 5th team also landing here. So the dynamic of this drop spot is going to be nuts, right? This is obviously where the majority of the loot is overall, but having 5 teams going here, like, this is going to be questionable.
Yeah, let me drop you a little bit of history on these guys contesting each other. Start of the Cash Cup, first Cash Cup of the season, Malabuka and Mustache, I have to say, dominated them, right? They had a different strategy. One of them landed at the bottom side, Pick and Anas landed towards the top side of Command Cavern, and it wasn't a 50-50. Now, fast forward to the last Cash Cup that they played and contested each other. Now, Anas and Pink decided to change up the strategy, 50-50 Malabuka and Mustache, and all of a sudden, it was a 6-0 for Pink and Anas. So, they're very used to that 50-50 playstyle from the Llama split of last season. So, if they continue that today, I'm going to see some sparks flying.
Either way, like, this is a show. This is a drop spot that's going to be a mess. If the teams in here could do either amazingly, if they 5-1, 6-0, or, this could just go downhill for all the teams involved.
Another POI, man, another hot spot right now. We can't forget about Tilted Towers. We just saw Mr. Savage there in the interview, but Benji Fishy will be there alongside him, going up against DKS and Bad Sniper. Gentlemen, did we not just see this play out last season?
We did, and realistically, we didn't see that. I just want to see we saw DKS and Bad Sniper do well. Like, I know the community, everyone out there wants Benji and Savage to do super well, and through the qualifiers, that's what it looked like. But the second day in particular, last season's finals, like, Benji and Savage were being really run over by DKS and Bad Sniper. So DKS, Bad Sniper clearly have this drop shot practice. They have it down so far. Now with the changes just coming this season, with obviously there's less loot there, we've got 3 whole teams there. This is a whole new battlefield, a whole new way to fight, with the blimp still involved as well. So it's like, I'm not sure how this is actually going to play out today, but I'm want to see. Let's be real.
Yeah, you mentioned the battlefield, right? This drop spot now has been completely altered. A lot of the loot has been taken out, and what used to be able to be split by 3 teams is probably going to be a battle at the blimp. And honestly, I don't know who's really going to be taking it. All I know is Benji and Savage, they sort of struggled in the first open qualifier, almost didn't qualify to this finals, and then also didn't qualify past the opens almost. So, you know, they're coming in with a little bit of that that chip on the shoulder. But, you know, this rivalry has been continuing on for multiple seasons in a row now, and they definitely want to prove themselves to be the better team.
I want to be honest, my main focus here, what I want to see is like, are these teams going to play, or they're just going to play for the drop spot, right? Are they going to win, qualify?
Yeah.
Or are they going to be like, we got 2 more qualifiers left, we can go in series points. Let's make sure we own this drop spot as much as possible. And I think it can go either way, let's be real.
Never know.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't have that confidence going into finals, right? And then it's just kind of like, well, yeah, we're just also competing for this POI, but it's your POI. We're just kind of here stopping through. That's not in the spot you want to be, you know? Guys, we watched that Mr. Savage content piece. Now let me throw a fun one at you. This is really fun, okay? We basically showed our players a picture, very small, a snippet of an area in the map, and then said, where is that? Go track it down, hop in Whiplash, see if you can find it. This is where in the world?
Right guys, let's play a game. Basically we get showed a picture and we have to drive there. Whoever gets there first gets 1 point. Whoever gets the most points wins.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Okay, move, man.
Wait, I hope it's this way. I have no idea.
It would have been smart to take the road. Nah, GG. It's wraps. I have no fear as well. Yeah.
Wait, I'm not even sure if it's over here, because I can see the blue thing.
How are you not out of fuel?
Because I'm crazy. Okay, I'm here. I found it. This is too easy.
Bro, where is that, bro?
Oh, do you know that? It's impossible to know.
No, it's not.
Bro, I know where that is.
No, bro, I don't know where to find this thing. There's 5 million buildings.
It's impossible.
I don't even remember what I have to find. Oh, I know.
Bro, looked at my screen and then said, I know.
No, I know.
It's impossible.
I find it.
I got it first. It's coming out.
Where is that?
Wait.
Where should go?
No, it's done one.
But I know where it is, but
I know.
Don't crash, guys. Drive safe.
No, I'm full speeding.
I might be wrong.
We're in the wrong POI. No way, bro.
Yeah.
Where else could it be?
Ping, you're not really good at this.
I know where it is, but I have no fuel, bro.
No, it's not here.
There is no way. How can I see it?
It's not here.
Yep, I got it. Right there. Rocky of the Rills. Drive in Theta. Look at this. I think. Let me triple check. Yep.
Oh, I know where that is.
Isn't that Holly Hedges? Oh, wait.
How can I know that?
Bro, it's so... That one is the easiest, the one that's been... I'm already here.
Stop looking at my screen, bro.
Bro, I'm already here. I'm here, Pink. It's fully over for you.
Yeah, bro, you don't know where it is, though.
I pretty much know. Like, I'm pretending here. Okay, I'm here. Bro, I'm dying to bots. But I was here.
So far.
Yeah, that is very far.
It's actually crazy how we all know this one.
Yeah, and actually the subs just know this one, then we know it's easy.
Maybe I can do a little bit of this. Oh, and there's bots, yep. Grab a little jetpack.
If someone's faster than me, then they are full psychos. This suits us. How much fuel you on?
I'm gonna win.
Yeah, my car's blocking. It's over.
There's no way you guys have enough fuel, bro.
No, Dan is winning. This suits us, you're throwing. No.
Is this. I won. I was here first.
GG's, boys. Well played.
Yeah, GG.
GG.
I very much enjoy wearing the world. That was a really fun one.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for all the players who came out to Media Day. Super, super fun time. Okay. We got to focus in now. We only have a little bit longer before we get ready to jump on that battle bus and kick off the first game of qualifier number 1. So let's do this. Let's talk about predictions. Everyone's favorite moment of the whole show. Now, Fortnite fam, I will say, make sure you guys stay on top of the casters and analysts in every region, because one of them will be receiving a crazy award depending on where they play. So the first place winner in each region will get an award. That's right. That's right. So there's that much more pressure.
I was right for a second here. We'd be like going up against any West guys. They're just going, oh, it's Epic Whale and Arkham. They're just doing I get it right every week.
Okay. You know what? Yeah. All right. We'll have more talks about this, but yeah, that's a good point. That's not. They have the easy road. That's okay. We'll just make sure that everyone knows that our job is more difficult because you know. We actually have to put thought and effort. Just kidding, Any West. We love you guys so much. Okay, let's start this off. I went with Floki and Clement. Listen, I think these guys could make it into that top 5, right? Historically, we know they are this kind of pop-off team. They can find themselves in the right spots, but, you know, sometimes, Reese, if they don't get kind of their feet under them, they may struggle, but I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Yeah, they're uncontested at Chunksters Day from what it seems like, and they've had a history of being fighting against teams every single, basically, week qualifier last time. So they're in a good position. Me and Boot, Hen and Queasy, the reigning champions. We're eye to eye with this one right now. Look, they're looking super strong. I think you made a really good point earlier, Boot, though, with no cars. Like, if they get a bunch of South zones, it could be really difficult for them.
Yeah, but obviously the no car is going to affect them a little bit. But these guys, you know, first day of the last FNCS as well, you know, they struggled a little bit, came back in the second day. So these guys, you know, the name of the game is adaptability, and that's what champions do. So Hen and Queasy, very easy. I mean, that's why they pay us the big bucks for this prediction.
Yes, indeed. Shy Wager going with Anas and Pink, changing his prediction left, right, and center. Finally sticking with Anas and Pink. We talked about how good these guys are, but yeah, again, they're kind of going up against our predictions, the height teams battling out head to head up on the top of the high ground. So I'm very, very interested to see how these two teams go. Both could get in the top 5, and then Levin with Tayson and Chapix.
Who could have predicted that?
Levin. Tayson
Levin. So. Yeah.
I mean, Levin's a very simple man, right? He sees Tayson. That's who he just goes head in the side with. I mean, that's exactly. Well, Fortnite fam, we're getting ready here. Not that much longer. We're gonna have a lot of things to talk about over the course of these 6 games ahead of us, right? The new mechanics in the game as well, mantling, combat sprinting, and of course, tactical sprinting, and still paired up with sliding that we feel like people still haven't mastered. So we'll have to see how all of this kind of plays into today's games. But for now, we got 2 casters who are standing by. They're ready to say hello. So give a big warm welcome to Shy Wager and Levin 2K.
Let's go.
Thanks so much, Zeke, Boop, and Reese. Another season of the FNCS. The stakes are higher, the action is faster, and the casters look even better. Levin, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, wow, thank you, man. You know, people don't compliment me that often, but no, I appreciate that, man. Look, I'm looking forward to it, right? A new season, new beginnings for a lot of these players, right? We have a lot of new teams as well. Of course, like the analyst said, I see Tayson and I'm like, yeah. But even removing the emotional aspect of it, right? You know, in a world where there are a couple of duos that we're not too sure about, Tayson and Chapix, when you pair that with the circumstances they have at Command Cavern, you would expect them to do incredibly well today, right? So, you know, of course, first days, jitters, sometimes people don't necessarily perform as best as you could, but I am very optimistic about some of our more experienced teams today.
Absolutely. Week 1 always has that switch up getting into the quals round 1 and 2. After 3, we have the mishmash, the mosh pit, even at half these POIs. You mentioned Command Cavern, Tilted Towers as well. I feel like it's going to be a complete jumbo show. Sign-Up Station, Daily Bugle. There's so many 3 multiple team contested POIs, Levin. I don't even know where to begin.
Honestly, it's going to be hectic for us as well, right? And of course, as always, it is going to be fun because we have the first game of Qualifier 1 just around the corner.
All right, game 1 for Qual 1. Another season, same kind of map, new POIs, but the action I just feel like is going to be so fresh already. That bus makes Command Cavern start the game earliest. It's an awesome Pink that we're in line with the highest point of drop as well. Near the blimp, they're going to have control.
And this is going to be one of the more interesting fights to watch today. You can see they're literally right on top of each other, and so in a matter of moments, you'd expect a fight to break out. Mustache and Malibuka are realizing that Pink and Anas have access to the barrels, and so they're going to have that shield advantage, opting to head over to the blimp and get their loot up as well, ready to make sure that engagement is somewhat fair between them.
And don't get it confused. I know you're looking at the mini-map and even this top view right now. This is not a creative map. We're not just remaking the cavern and watching a few teams join in and play. That is pretty much, and straight up 5 teams rocking that POI in different layers completely. So we'll see what goes down already. Snazy and Podesire out. Benji Fishy and Savage, I believe, also fell and are gone. MXR getting completely totaled as well. Bad Sniper versus Savage, I feel like, Levin, has been a story we've seen season after season at almost so many different POIs. It seems like, I think on the side of Bad Sniper, they've just been leveling up, just being a little bit more composed overall, and are getting the better half of that equation.
Yeah, they obviously got the better half last season, right? Maybe that's a bit of an understatement even. Obviously, I got the chance to speak to Savage, and you know, they were hopeful about their chances this season, turning the tide a bit, but of course, with the changes that have been made to Tilted, at what point do maybe they think, actually, maybe you don't even want to land here at all anyways, right? So, plenty of changes to be adjusted to. I think we're going to actually check out how those guys went down. Mr. Savage and Benji going for that.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
It's like that. They even had such a cool drop. I was like, there's no way this goes bad. But, yeah, unfortunately, even with Benji just being a powerhouse and getting one of the knocks down, you can't really stop Vico from pushing that box. That was also, you know, Reese mentioned the wishy-washy predictions back and forth. I had a feeling in my heart that if Benji and Savage are given enough time, maybe just a game or two, they can get so many points. But having these types of players and teams around them, it's tough.
Yeah, full 50-50s are difficult. This fight here that's actually just wrapped up isn't a full 50-50, but Hardfind and ADN versus Janice and Vortex over at Greasy. This is also a really interesting fight because, again, if you know me, I'm a big fan of Janice and Vortex. They obviously very much impressed last season. But this time round, ADN and Hardfine get the best of them.
Yeah, you would think that on the side of Janice and Vortex specifically, they're a little bit more patient. And Greasy fights favor kind of the teams that take it a bit slower and are a little bit more methodical overall. But it seems like Hardfight and ADN got the drop on them. I was seeing that fight going the other way, but clearly these guys have the plan.
Yeah, Hardfine and ADN continue to improve. I think last season, Hardfine really start to sort of get back into the swing of things, right? There were a couple seasons where maybe you weren't seeing these guys performing at the top level. I know Hardfine reached out to my guy, Coach Harry, started getting a bit of help in that regard, and now we're seeing them back into the important games, right? FNCS round 4 of the qualifiers is where you want to be. But at the end of the 6 games, there's an even more important place you want to be, right? In that top 5.
Absolutely. Some of these teams are watching. I mean, Hen and Queasy, an absolute shoo-in to rocket and get all the way up there towards that top 5. Sleepy Sound, they're just investigating for now. We just had Analyx and Squeeze on screen, Levin. Talk to me about them, because namesake-wise, fueling-wise, if you just look at the history, they should be a shoo-in for top 5, but a lot of the times, analysts, players, fans don't have them there.
Yeah, I think as a whole, they're doing that's very representative of a lot of what's happening with, you know, the French scene in Fortnite, right, at the top level, where a lot of these players are very established. You expect them to do well, and they have the potential to come out and pop off. I wouldn't be surprised if Andelex finished in the top 5 today. But again, right, have they been putting in the hard yards throughout the season? I think a lot of people probably question that, and therefore question how well they can do in these more difficult lobbies. But they did well in the lead up, right? Of course, they have made it here, and so we'll give them that much credit, and they deserve to prove themselves. And this is something that will be a sight to behold. Taser and Chapik have the vault in game 1. I don't think that's going to change much over the next couple games.
I love how you're just like walking down the street type vibe in your voice, you know, keeping it nice and nonchalant. You see Tayson on the screen. I've never seen this man smile mid-sentence, this hard, this wide, and just sound just this happy over one POV, man. They're not even doing anything. Why is that, Levin?
You want to know the truth, bro? It's because we're getting a prize for predictions. So I just want to do really well and get the prize. I could have predicted, you know, Jack and Harry. It wouldn't matter who I predicted. As long as they do well, you will see me smiling. So,
hey, and if you're watching too, you're wondering, hey, what's going on? I might have just started playing Fortnite again because of zero build, or I haven't watched competitive before. I want to predict some teams. I want to be a fan. Welcome to competitive. Basically, you watch the early game portion of Fortnite drop down, and it's pretty much just fighting for your POI. It's the same in many modes. After that, those where things get a little bit more interesting. Mid game, it's all about trying to get some tags, trying to get some damage up. Storm Surge is the thing that's kind of exclusive to these competitive modes. I mean, it's active in a lot of places, but this is where you see it a lot of the time. And all you have to do is more damage than most other players in the lobby. There's a cutoff. I believe it's 70 players for the first kind of threshold overall. So you'll see teams basing up a little bit, going for that damage, being strategic. That's the name of the game. And then we'll see that classic end game mumbo jumbo. That's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and as a whole, right, you're almost playing your whole game with that end game in mind. Can we get to that stage of the game with the most resources, with the best possible chance of being able to win out the game? Resources will be a big part of that. You're seeing Hen farming up right now, making sure he can get himself up in that regard. And players will break out into different fights all around the map with that same goal in mind.
Control is basically the name of the game, and one of the duos I kind of want to talk about in that aspect, the one that did the best in the previous round, first place overall, Pink and Anas. And they have Cavern Mountain basically to themselves. They have a Chonker car as well to be able to move around. Those tires make you basically stick to any surface as you're driving up. And I feel like if they are allowed to play, I think that was the biggest thing, right? Being super contested off spawn, or they're going to be allowed to have a say in every single game. Them comfortable in game one is going to be a scary sight for everyone else. Even Tayson and Chapix on the right.
Yeah, well, this is actually a scary sight for the rest of the lobby, right? Because they have a vehicle, for people don't know, right? A lot of vehicles that were in the game before were taken out, except for these ones here, the IO ones, the black vehicles. And if you're a team that has one, let's just say you have a decent leg up on the rest of the lobby. A lot of people would like to share the same fortune as you, right? And so that will be a huge factor into how they're actually able to traverse the map, right? Because what we're going to see in a lot of these games is people crowded on the edge of these zones, right? You know, the storm circle, you're just going to have a whole line of teams. And if you're a team with a vehicle, you have that ability to get around. You're just that bit more mobile than the rest, and it works wonders. It's why you'll see Queasy and Hen, as much as they'll be confident about their chances qualifying, Queasy will tell you guys, look, we're good, but we ain't got a vehicle, so don't have your hopes up, right? Everybody knows how strong they can be.
Most definitely, even with that central zone a little bit. And it's going towards that south side. A lot of people will be playing that edge and have access to moving in and actually playing the game. It's nothing too crazy like the mountains up top north. Like on Astro. Seeing exactly what they can do, but it's split bases for a lot of players, and then the opposite side of that are just combined ones. Maybe a spot that has a bit more of a vantage point overall. Unena rolling in. Lois Esti as well, second place overall from round 3. This team I feel like has been pretty 50-50 throughout history. Esti specifically, always kind of toughed out on spawn. Always kind of in the middle of the pack when it comes to placements as well. Kind of have some momentum riding in. You already mentioned Tayson and Chapix, iDrop and Jerky playing here today as well. Everyone here kind of has that potential for the big pop-off. But I think consistency is something that everyone's going to be striving for, trying to get towards that top 5.
Yeah, most definitely, right? I think, you know, coming into this game, as much as these guys have all done a great job to get here, there will be nerves rocking about. If you can sort of get a really good early start, that momentum can do wonders. That's my biggest hope for this duo here on our screens, right? Tayson and Chapix, both great players, both FNCS winners. They've actually won an FNCS playing together, but if you don't know much about these two, I'll tell you this, they argue quite a bit, right? both great minds in terms of Fortnite, right? Two of the smartest players in the game, and they can clash sometimes, right? And so if things don't go their way early on, right, that momentum not going in their favor can be huge, right? When the arguments start breaking out, can they actually keep things together and stay on the same page when it matters the most?
You got to see a bunch of these players live at Media Day recently. Talk to me about the vibes of them on site finally, you know, meeting some of their competitors for the first time. Like, was everything hunky-dory, or was it kind of like, you know, as intense as things get in-game, or maybe even in solo catch cups?
You know what? Everyone's lovely, man. That's the one thing. All these players are very lovely people. Of course, things did get quite intense right during the Cash Cup. I know Reese will talk about it a bunch, but Queasy, if you were watching Queasy in person play a Cash Cup, you wouldn't think he's doing well. He's straight up, he gets so angry, he gets so fired up that you just would not think he's actually doing well. But you know, you look at the leaderboard and he's way up there, right? So sometimes players allow their emotions to get in there, but for the most part, everyone's quite cool. So I'm sure as we go player to player, I'll have some more anecdotes for each one. But Nah, it was a great experience. These guys, their passion for Fortnite is brilliant. They all work incredibly hard, and I'm sure that will pay off for a lot of them today.
Yeah, stakes-wise, I mean, just every game, every player is obviously looking to win. If you're talking about cash cups, you're trying to come, you know, towards the top first overall. For this week, this qualifier, these 6 games, by the time they're over, every duo here is going to be looking towards getting towards that top 5. If so, they're going straight towards the finals, towards the end of the season. So, I mean, there are a few shoo-ins on your screen right now as well, but anything can happen, especially with the way some of these POIs are set up in terms of fights. It's just getting insane and crazy. This might be one of the slowest in terms of action games we've seen so far across both seasons. Everyone playing super slow. I feel like a little bit of that loot pool as well gives you access to take a few more passive fights, go for tags overall. The introduction of the shield keg, just having that 100 shield for free after taking a few engagements. People are looking just to base up a bit more than to go all in 50-50 these box fights.
Yeah, I think being able to actually find a team you can get tags on can be difficult. A lot of people in these lobbies will be playing just that bit safer than they usually would. And so you always have to pick your timings and your openings wisely. You see Bad Sniper and DKS, they think they found an opening. I'm not able to connect with much just there. They will have to find something though. 222 below. You can see on the right of your screen. And so that means that desperate times are among them. They have an IO vehicle as well, and so they'll really want to stay in this game. Always have great potential to go far into the moving zones of that. But you have to do damage. If you don't do damage, the server will claim its damage from you. And this is why they're getting in. Yeah.
This is just tough. DKS Bad Sniper, 86 below. Focus on that number on the right side of the screen. It's already gone, though, as are both these players. Yikes is there with Vico. They started off the game taking out Benji and Savage, and now they're here just reigning and leading the lobby in eliminations.
Yeah, those are obviously 2 Tilted Tower teams. Not actually fighting out at Tilted, but later on in the game they meet, and it's only one that comes out on top. But that is going to be an interesting sort of theme to watch for, right? Will that team continue to struggle with Surge throughout the games? If a top team struggles for Surge in one game, you can forgive that, right? Things happen. But game to game, being able to adjust, yeah, things get tough. You can see the tree being knocked down. Such an interesting mechanic that sort of almost goes unspoken about, but it is huge, right? Being able to knock a tree down, and you can see the effect now. Lotus isn't going to be able to pick SD up, and he's now going to have to fend for himself. The combat SMG is providing endless amounts of pressure. He tries to get up and over, but with such low HP, things are going to be so difficult. Hits a nice shot. I believe that's the crack as well. And so he's evened things up a tad bit, but can he do the finishing blow before a teammate comes to help? It doesn't seem like it. You can hear them scurrying around all over him, but you can't actually find the shot, and he's actually getting shot from a team in the distance as well. This is not looking great for Lotus whatsoever.
Completely out of heals too, so he can't really come back by any means, but these siphons right now, these are just all into this fight. But the more time is bought, the bigger the health bars get below him. This man is trapped in a reverse dungeon. This is just so tough for him. There's no way out. Oh man, on the left side as well, you can see Blue and Nano A. I mean, they're doing the opposite of fighting, trying to heal out Surge. I mean, I saw an entire shield keg get used. Blue still has so many heals available. That must be some of the things that Nano might have had in his inventory as well, but they're getting focused. Now, a little bit above as a few teams go down.
Obviously, only one player needing to go down before Surge will stop ticking for the meantime, and so he'll hope he can just weigh it out. Obviously, 163 above now works in his favor. And now that we've hit 70, Surge will be switched off. For now, at least. We're a couple zones and he'll be back, but this is not good whatsoever. Pink and then that's in a bit of trouble, and that's actually being taken out, and there ain't going to be many places to get a reboot off.
How is this even possible? 2 pads rolling in with this type of inventory. Was it Surge that kind of put them into this position? I'm not even sure. They had a few tags and had control of Cavern as well as a vehicle, so I feel like, first of all, I'm worried. Second of all, this I feel like is how every single FNCS starts for this duo. It's usually Pink is the one that's going down somewhere near this time or in the next zone. and then Nas clutching up, but with 2 pads, those heals, I feel like he can still clutch maybe even a top 10.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough. But of course, like you said, the 2 pads will be huge in terms of being able to get him zone to zone. His loot was brilliant. Like, obviously, if he had a teammate, we'd be talking about them in the context of, you know, they're going to go on to have a really strong game. That's really unfortunate, I guess, but we'll see how Pink fares. Tayson, on the other hand, another team from Command. He has 2 launch pads as well, and that's going to be phenomenal. I wonder if Chapix has some himself. Yeah, he does, has the 1 as well. 3 launch pads in the hands of this team. I don't want to jinx anything, but that's almost unfair, you know?
Yeah. Who are they gonna
just
be up
allows
against?
them to save so many mats, right, in these moving zones, right? A lot of teams, right, if they don't have any sort of mobility item like a pad or a vehicle, they're gonna have to just burn through materials to keep themselves protected and safe. These guys can just sort of glide their way into the next zone almost free of charge at times.
Over and over again, and then have those mats when they're most important. That being said, though, the zone's not really switching over to one complete side. It's kind of squishing all the way in the middle. Everyone's going to be forced to just move in. Pad or no pad, the pressure's kind of on for every single team. Hopefully they have their damage dealt as well, because it might be a bit too late to go for forced fights at this moment. Pink is still up top, acting like he owns the lobby. I mean, Tayson's right beside him somewhere. I think I just saw his name maybe a layer below. Still confident with a teammate down.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be key to sort of how he has to play the rest of this game out. You can't make yourself look vulnerable. You can't make yourself look weak. A scuff solo is the dream of many of these teams, right? That will be what they want. And so he has to move forward as strong as he possibly can be. That 1 shot, not huge, but it will at least tick him over in terms of surge, keeping 161 above in his pursuit of getting into zone.
He's sneaking around a little bit. 303 should be good in terms of damage. And yeah, one thing we didn't really get to talk about yet is the new mechanics in terms of movement, mantling, sprinting. As a duo, sometimes it's tough to keep those stamina bars in check, the movement in check overall. When you're solo and you have these tools available to you in terms of just being that more agile when you're on the ground, you can do great things and really are able to hide away from pressure so much more so. You don't really need to focus on that teammate. That being said, half the mats available, half the pressure available. There are obviously some really big downsides, but Pink still has a chance right here. Chapix and Tayson up top getting forced off their base. There's going to be a push here, double armored wall to make sure there is no funny business. They're taking no risk, especially with 3 pads in tow. Tayson should be the power man to watch right now. He's going to be the one dictating who moves where with this team.
Yeah, you can see how awkward things got for them, right? Where Chapix overpeaks a bit, takes some damage, and so now they're on the back foot, but they'll be all right. I don't know about this duo, though. Will they be able to be all right? Oh, dear. Hype now doesn't have a teammate, and he doesn't have any HP left. Right back to the lobby in just a matter of a flash.
Was that a base or a blender? I'm not sure, because those HP bars, they went down so fast, and they're still falling.
Yeah, man, a bit of the chunks left over just dripping through. That is real tough. Swaps and Edison, though, they will not complain. They needed that damage, and they needed the loot as well. Cap, they've got a pad, and they're sitting in zone as well. This is setting up to be a real nice first game for these guys.
Swaps and Edison, let's see what they can do. ADN hard find, although winning the fight off of Spawn. Below on damage for Surge. As a result, that lightning strikes them down. Sue goes down to Mappy, unfortunately, as well. Hard find going for the last few shots, but doesn't really land, and these guys are now in the air. Can't really heal off the damage that will strike, so they have to land quick, hit some good shots, and hopefully stay alive. 4 more people need to go down. ADN, though, lands into disaster. It's just hard find with a 360 beam, but he gets deleted too.
Yeah, that was real tough. Wasn't able to stay behind ADN quick enough to back him up in the box, and they both fall because of it. Hen now, holding players in. They do this incredibly well, always set up in great positions to take out players who are wandering in the back of the zone, trying to get to safety. And that's going to be a continued theme in the rest of this lobby. You can see everything shaping up now. Everybody finally starting to get into that position, but this is where things really get hectic, Shayo, as the moving zones are upon us.
Yeah, right now, exactly where Head and Queasy are. Above them is Tayson and Chapix. Beside them, Floki and Clement. 3 teams we're expecting to do so well, all in one of the best spots for this zone. They pull it as well, so they have advantage for now. Versace Malabuka, also here, a strong duo who the further they get, the stronger they are. They'll see what they can do. X-Sweet's picking up Andy in the feed. Everyone quiets down. Only 1 versus they are kind of reeling a few shots in sight. Everyone's getting ready for that move. It's going to be tough here, 11 in this first game.
Yeah, but I don't know how tough it'll be for these guys, right? You saw there, Max and Materials, they've got a pad as well. I'm sure they'll look to scout high ground, see if that's an option for them. But they've got to be careful because there's a bunch of other teams in the lobby that will want to do so. Floki and Clemento, oh my goodness, Alena Blue, they're picking up another elimination. First of the game. And Loki was so unsuspecting, just got completely caught out from behind. And that's going to be huge for these guys moving forward. That refresh is nice.
Big arc up top, everyone basically using the same launch pad to get to where they need to go. Fury landing first, and up in the sky we see Vanya still waiting to see what he can do. Chapix re-hits it with Tayson. They'll dictate exactly how height looks, it feels like, all the way up top here, but they see a few people already building up super fast. They're gonna keep it low-key for now and maybe take height later.
Yeah, you see they have their eyes on it, the double dip. He wanted to be the highest in the sky, make sure he could scout it well and see what their options were. They chose to leave it in the meantime, and we'll see how that pays off for them. Pink is still in this one in the bottom right of your screen, and you'll see how he can do. He's going to be running low on mats eventually, but a refresh in the back of the zone will be the way to solve that, and you can see him attacking the wall. Those guys caught with their pants down, they don't even know where they're getting shot from.
This is crazy. Think about it. Sometimes this man has a teammate, and he can do even more. Right now, he's doing more than half the teams we've seen already as a solo player on second high ground. No one's even focusing him just yet, and he's ahead of Surge. It's Jerky and iDrop that have control for now. Every time I see Jerky on high ground 11, he does not lose it easy.
Yeah, these guys got to be careful though. They need to reinforce height. You can see already Jerky getting chopped down to just wood. And it's going to be really hard to hold this when you have the likes of Tayson and Chapix looking up for it. They would have spotted that wood. They would have known what these guys on height doing. We're taking it for ourselves. You can see the build fight pulling out. The code from Jerky isn't going to come through. And so he's forced to knock it down. But as he does that, he forces a fight. And you ain't winning a fight against these guys. Tayson and Chapix, they're up there on height. And they're up there for the win. You can see they've got it now. Dry drop. The big drop will be forced all the way down. And Tayson and Chapix, they hold height in game one. But for how long, you can see they themselves are down to wood, and that could be a problem as they move forward.
Big cost to get it. Pink still alive though, somehow still surviving. 300 mats for Wood still left. Now he's finally getting focused. Tayson desperate for a pickup for anything at all. Down low, there's even more pressure. Pink now sandwiched from all sides. Has to give it all up down to low ground where it's catacombs. It's a graveyard. There's no one here. It's empty, and he finds some reprieve. One player slides in, but Pink sees it coming, denies access towards his builds. This man, a legend, a solo from the fourth zone, is still somehow alive.
Yeah, you can see going up against Jackson. Jackson will be taken out, and so Pink will be able to stay on low for just that bit longer, but he wants to fight with Edison. He needs to be careful. He wanted to try and get that loot, and he will do it, but it's not going to be enough, right? The flopper will keep in the game for just a bit longer. The chug splashes as well, but can he get over this hill? It doesn't quite look like it. One build comes out. Can he sort of dance his way around? It's going to be so difficult, but it's fine because so many players are going down at this stage. You can see Malabuka and Mustache are responsible for that as well, and now down to just bare bones. Pink will eventually fall, but a brilliant fight, nonetheless, a valiant effort. But you can see Malabuka and Mustache, they want it all. They're clearing out their layer. They will not give anybody space to breathe. You can see as well, the floppers will be huge if it comes to a heal-off. They're setting up real nice going out into this closing moments of the game.
Unbreakable wall down low made of wood and a strong duo. Meanwhile, Chapix up top is trying anything to have a single elimination. Another one for Mustache and Malabuka. They're up to 7, trying to wrap this one all out. Now the Siphon mats come in, but pressure is still raining up from above. Armored wall to maybe just silence them for just a second. Look at the distance between both teams right now. It's first versus fourth overall, and one more player down below. Shizo and Krusty, 2 separate, no duos to be able to help them out in this circumstance. Medmiss actually for Krusty to be able to mantle around and get straight up into the zone. Big shot over, and Shizo goes down afterwards though. Mustache and Malabuka, they have the sonar on, they hear everything. They pick him apart, and now things are getting dark. This is where they were born and molded. One player down, Mustache is just popping off for the moment. 6 for him, but there's a trade. Now a 1v1. Malabuka, floppers, and chuck splashes in play. The zone's not fully closed yet. He's gonna be able to heal for just a second. But look at Tayson's HP pool. He might just be able to do this. Grabs height to start off this game. Afterwards has time to work with to maybe even make this 1v1 something special for us to witness. Final jump down. Malabuka might be running out of mats here just on the backside, but he gets 150 pod off. He's looking good for now. It's going to be an even clash on both sides. First build block. Now Tayson's going up from the right. He doesn't know exactly where Malabuka is. Look up, my friend. He's got the high ground. Malabuka has a harpoon option as well. 170 mats, no, almost 200 to use, and Tayson's forced to the ground. Has nothing for protection. He has to go for the spray. Malabuka low on HP as well. This 1v1 could dictate how the day goes completely. Tayson looking for the shot. He gets rattled up a little bit. He still has the HP advantage. Malabuka looking for it. Tayson almost finds a shot down. One more shot. It's coming down. Tayson with a big one going off to the right, but it's Malabuka who's just too good and can't be stopped with the first victory royale.
A close 1v1 in our first game between two exciting teams who will continue to battle it out on the leaderboards all day long. Malabuka and Mustache was set up so well. They cleared out everybody on the mid and low ground layers, and then they went up in the final moments as well. Some key shots, look at that, down to just a lick of HP. He couldn't even afford to take just a tiny bit, but the stone cold ice in his veins to hit the final shot. Malabuka and Mustache win game one, and in emphatic fashion, Shia.
That's a Mali shot. I'm calling it that right now because it was a millisecond more. He's out, and the angle was just way too good. I mean, that is how we start off the FNCS in EU. I want to see the analysts' reactions because that was just insane.
Yo, what? This is what I live for, man. It's Fortnite moments like this when it comes down to the 1v1. And for a moment, Reese, I thought it was actually going to go Tayson's way, right? He gets the trade over. He has 200 HP, but no materials, man. Oh!
I mean, that's interesting to me because it's like two of the best solo players on the region going head-to-head 1v1 at the end. Obviously, they had their teammates before that, but it all came down to that final shot. Who is it gonna be? And this is just a clip from a little bit early on from the absolute decimation. Like, Malabuka and Mustache, one of the best things about them is they're just so good at fragging out an endgame, right? It's like, if you get them next to each other, they just run at you. Look at this. Like, how are you meant to stop against that? Two of the best aimers in the region charging you with SMGs.
Yeah, unrelenting aggression is probably just the name of the game for Malabuka and Mustache, right? Those double SMGs, those pre-edits coming out, we've seen them do that even from high ground as well. And here's a little replay of the Tayson Malabuka 1v1. It gave me a little bit of flashbacks from solo All-Stars. You know, I thought Tayson was going to get there. But, you know, Malabuka, a little bit shaky there in the high ground. Maybe those first game nerves coming out. It was a little bit too close, honestly, for my heart to handle. But, wow, that makes it very exciting for game number one.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same thing. I was trying to remember which tournament it was. I was like, oh, Tayson clutches this, no problem at all. Yep. Look, Malabuka, yeah, maybe a little bit of nerves to get him a little bit shaky, but at the end of the day, like, he's one of the best players on the region for the last 2 seasons, and now, finally, it seems to be able to be shown in an FNCS.
Yeah. Dude, so sick. I can't believe. And just think, again, we have 5 more games out ahead of us. This has very much set the tone of the 5 games that remain, right? And honestly, I feel like in a lot of ways, Reese, this may have set the tone for qualifiers to come. Let's take a look at our standings together as we see kind of how this is all transpired. Remember, this is just game 1. Don't get too crazy, all right? Just look at the points. Just think, okay, we have 5 more games. Things will continue to develop. Right now, though, with that victory royale and 9 eliminations, Reese, Mustache, Malabuka, they're sitting comfortably at the top.
I mean, here's the thing, like, 9 elims to them is huge, but, like, that's not their cap by any means. Like, they're a team who can get 10, 12, 15 in a game. Maybe not today, but I hope so. I hope we'll see it. But, like, that's off to a great start. It's only game number 1. Some of the other teams, obviously, we see Flois and Mappy down in 5th. We didn't get to see too much of, but have done really well throughout some of the earlier rounds. And in 7th, a team that definitely want to point out, Vico and Jikes, or Jackson as well, a player who did super good in that early game. Remember, they're going into Tilted Towers, one of the POIs we highlighted earlier. Wipe both the teams out from there.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Pink there for making it from all the way from first moving all the way to zone number 8 in that game. You know, clutching up those placement points for himself and Anas over there. Other players in this leaderboard, of course, Kefi and Melody. The only Polish team I think we've seen landing a Kami split. No Kami and Seti this week, unfortunately for them. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of these teams being a lot more consistent, but with 5 more games to go, you just never know what the leaderboard's going to look like.
Yep, and again, it's just the first game, right? Like, okay, everybody, take that deep breath. Just work those jitters out. It's okay. We have 5 more to kind of come back through and look to try to say, like, all right, whatever happened in game number 1, that's just my warm-up game. Okay, everything's fine. Guys, what are we hoping to see starting in game number 2? Was there anything you guys felt like in game number 1 was maybe, like, a little lacking?
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Tilted Towers always has action. It's not about lacking, but it's a place that I want to revisit again. It always has tons of action going on. You know, we saw the 50-50 right off the spawn here when it came up into the blimp. And right now, it didn't go Mr. Savage's way alongside Benji Fishy, right? Vico, I kind of highlighted them earlier, had them on the drop. You can see exactly where it went wrong here for Mr. Savage. Of course, Benji Fishy left then as the 1v2 situation. And with barely any materials left, he's just trying to do what he can here. This is what I want to see how it plays out again in game number 2, because DKS and Bad Sniper land to the south, down in obviously tilted down below. And this is going to be 50-50 we're going to see overall. You know, it seems like, you know, only game number 1, but Vico and Jackson are doing significantly better, but can they keep that train up, or can Benji and Savage turn it around?
Yeah, that's the battle preparation, right? Vico and Jackson, I know them. They're absolute grinders of practice. Every single day I see them in the Discord grinding out tournaments and practice. They have a coach as well. So if it comes down to a 50-50, it's all about preparation. And it's a little bit worrying for Benji and Savage then.
Yeah, and I just gotta say that landing from Mr. Savage, just hitting that right angle to just land right into the blimp, that's so sick, dude. I gotta try that. I'm not gonna achieve that, but it's something where I miss. I'll miss every time.
We know what's gonna
I miss
happen
100% of the shots that I take, I'll tell you what. Guys, we are enjoying all of the action here so far. I'm sure Levin, and of course Shy Wager, they've got more to say. They want to get us all warmed up as we prepare for game number 2 here from qualifier number 1. So let's kick it on over to them to take us into this battle bus.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. Zeke, doesn't matter how you land in blimps, you land in my heart the right way every time. And these plays, Levin, are etched into my mind. They're perma-landing. I mean, Goribuka, basically, right off of that first game. This guy's just insane.
Yeah, so much happened in that game. We already saw one of our first intense battles for height that we're going to see. Of course, we know how many dominant high ground teams are in that. I drop, of course, wanted to get it. Jerky as well with him was trying, but they couldn't handle Tayson and Chapix in that moment. Too low on mats. I can't wait to see the rest of these end games. But even then, some of the Osborne battles we have, right? Can Greasy Grove go the other way? What's going to happen at Tilted again? There's just so much happening right now, Shio, to be excited about.
Cavern, there's so much to explore, no pun intended. It always is, and so is game number 2. We're getting right into it. Cavern, there's so much to explore, no pun intended. It always is, and so is game number 2. We're getting right into it.
Let's go. We got game 2 on our hands. Game 1 did not disappoint one bit. And as we head into some of these off-spawn battles, Shio, any sort of early predictions, right? Who do you think's taking it home at Tilted this game?
For Tilted, I still feel like Vico has the bag locked down, especially if their drops are just that good on game number 1. If the jitters aren't even there to begin with. Looks like Savage is slightly lower on this time as well. Doesn't even make it all the way. No, he's going for the bottom side. It's going to be him with the burst AR. Vico going straight all the way down. And Savage actually doesn't even grab the rope, but no, he does for a second. It's going back and forth. How does he not find Vico already? Too much of a distraction. DKS gets him down. Levin, it doesn't matter who wins because whatever team does nothing, it feels like they're the ones who get the reward.
What just happened on our screens, bro? Oh my goodness. That is literally how all my arena games go, by the way. I just land, I get out dropped, I lose the weapon, I jump off the blimp, the guy chases me down, and I get knocked. Oh boy, Benji has a tough task on his hand, but nothing he's not dealt with before. Jackson, you can say very much the same for him as well. Vico is obviously knocked and laying waste below. And DKS and Bad Sniper are both just licking their lips right there. They'll be very chuffed about that.
Benji getting third-partied by AI as well. And he's going to be very low, losing all his shield, man. What's going on?
That is tough. That is very, very tough. You can see now as well, Jackson trying to take the fight to Benji, and he wins it for the revive as well. Wow. Benji officially wiped off spawn again.
That's tough. And like for me, honestly, it's not even what Benji and Jackson were going to do in that instance. For me, it's DKS and Bad Sniper. Knowing that you have 2 players, solos right now, choosing to play it safe and maybe just go for loot, I think might be a bit too safe of an option. Right now, Malibuka Mustache hot off the press off that first VR. Up against Pick and Nas, who have a lot more control on their side of the blimp here in Command Cavern. Mustache already down. Once again, this is a scaling team, in my opinion, in terms of their strength in the game. In the early game, I feel like where you can stop them super fast, and right now you can see that Mustache already down.
Yeah, this is huge, right? This is a team that literally just won that first game, and we knew this fight could happen over here at Command Cavern. We've seen it happen in Cash Cups in the previous weeks leading up to FNCS. But Malibuka, all on his own right now in this moment. The nature of Command Cavern, if you've not really seen things play out here, is such that he can get away, right? Come back a bit later. He's not going to actually be able to open the entrance. Just, you right there, son? You right, mate? Is he just trying to bait the sound for them to come?
He's definitely baiting it. It's just funny seeing the search thing go off again.
Oh, goodness, yeah. That is, that's great. They're not going to take the bait, right? But look, he'll be able to get Mustache up at some point. That is really huge in terms of them just being able to get that elimination early on. And of course, the points and the surge that comes with that is huge as well.
I mean, just look at how fast Mustache Malibuka as well got to play that first game. They were out of Command Cavern. They were on their loot path so quickly. Pink and Anas kind of had their own stuff to deal with a different duo that was landing there. I just feel like they don't get to have the first steps taken in their game to start off with go perfect. That's where we just don't see Mustache Malibuka ever just show up. I think that's what was happening previous seasons ago in Steamy Stacks. That's just what's been happening for them majority of the time. If they don't have that fast win, or if things just aren't even, they disappear for the game.
Yeah, and this is going to be one of those games where they'll have to sort of overcome that, right, with the early setback, trying to get themselves loads out back. The bid, it sounds like I'm trying to make this way too positive, right? But in terms of just like being in this area of the map, you saw the vault that Tayson and Chapik just opened. There was like 4 teams worth of loot that they just didn't collect, right? And so if you're Malibuka Mustache, you know that at any point you can just head back into command and sort of loot up, get any spare loot from the vault and in the surrounding areas. You can get your metal up as well in this area, and there's some god brick in the area as well that you can get. So overall, right, you know, it's not doom and gloom for them at this stage, right? But like you said, sort of the mental implications of that for them are going to be massive.
Okay, let's see if the physical implications can be surpassed first.
Oh, yeah, look.
I think that was like 90 seconds of you breaking down something perfect for Tayson to just be like, Levin, man, you talk too much.
Look, he got way too big for his boots, right? He went in there. And Tayson and Chapik were like, hold on a minute, big man.
We're not done yet, man.
Do you know where you are? Like, we don't mind you coming back when we're gone and we're finished, but you can't roll in here trying to sneak some. Who do you think you are, big man? Look, Tayson and Chapik, really nice for them. They'll be chuffed with that elimination. And
sorry.
What's going on here?
All right, so Vontrex and Jason, I would say the elephant in the pond or in the lake, the flopper in the room.
Okay.
These guys rolled in 0 eliminations, round number 3. Heal strat, majority.
Are you sure this ain't an arena game, brother? Did they just cut us off?
I'm not even sure, but they've got strats locked down. We'll tune in with them. That's just like just in case we're watching and we see 2 teams left and there's only one in the zone. You know where the other one is healing off, so.
Yeah, well, good luck to those guys. You know, I'm sure everybody in the lobby will be happy about them. With all this fishing Queasy's doing, you might be thinking he's about to go join them. 4 floppers, gonna be super nice. One thing that's really key this season, right? You'll see all these top teams always wanting to make sure that they can have some sort of, white HP in terms of floppers, chug splashes being the most popular one, right? Because the ability to sort of dip back into zone and storm plays in endgame is so vital, right? And so a lot of these top teams will always make sure they have some form of flopper or chug splash. It's so huge. And it's why Chapix right now will be looking to try get 2 more chug splashes and cap up on 6.
I mean, talk about the effect of even 3 chug splashes and 1 flopper. Pink. The difference between 12th and 8th place overall was him finding just that, right? A little bit of loot, 1 or 2 chug splashes. So definitely prowling that in your inventory, looking for it in the end game as well. It's huge.
I got some sneaky info, right? And Nas was only not in that game due to some technical errors, right? And so hopefully this time around, they'll actually be able to play together as a duo. Because when they are up together, they are forced to be reckoned with. It'll be interesting to see how they play into the height dynamic. Of course, we know they're a high ground team, but there have been times when, we've seen them in bigger games and bigger lobbies try to go for high ground against some of the other big dogs, and it just maybe doesn't quite work out how they would like it to hope. And so maybe, they sort of cower away.
For Anas specifically, especially the trios he's been on in the past as well, I think he's been the one to give things up and play that clutch mode first, or the defensive side of when a take happens. So actually, that's one of the reasons I wanted to go with them today. Is just, I feel like if things do go crazy on height with Hunt and Queasy in the business, with what we just saw with Tayson and Chapix, they would be the ones not to hold on.
Yeah, and Anas is one of those players, right, who, when we got to see him play in person at Media Day, he is the most chilled out guy. Like, if you saw this guy playing the Cash Cup, you'd have no idea. You'd think he's just chilling, right? Like, this guy was just, he plays like leaned back in his chair for one. So, like, he just looks ultra casual. And then, if you watch differences last season, I call this guy a robot because he just doesn't really make mistakes. He's almost as close to perfect as you can be a lot of the time, right? And so, very much one of the top players in the region, regardless of what people tell you. He is in that upper echelon, the tier 1, as they say sometimes.
With S+ if you're Boop.
S+ as well, if you want to name it differently.
Yeah. We'll look at Grells and Shizer were just on screen a moment ago. I mean, the solo performances we've seen so far, just in terms of clutches in game 1, definitely up there, but now it's about staying consistent. I think that's the toughest part about things, is having a even better or equal game 2.
You can see it with Aiden and Hardfan, right? They don't actually have any elimination, so I wonder what happened off spawn at Greasy, if they even went there. Of course, there's always a possibility that they decided they didn't want to take that fight, or maybe they disengaged. So sort of try to get some update on that and see where Janice and Vortex are. They are definitely another top team to watch out for.
Siren Asvi. And if I for the moment with the third party also flying in across the lake, this is about to get really hairy. I don't even think they see it coming. Siren head off on the backside. Teammate there to help down and go for a floor chop. They're gonna maybe land a little bit of damage here. Yup, inside the box. That's one big Elam, but now comes the pressure from the other side. Gravity might be down, but they have an entire new beast to fight.
Yeah, Artskill and T-Chips. Definitely not a team you want to be dealing with at this stage. They've moved over this season, right? Not sort of landing in the Northwest like they were last season. They haven't quite been the same sort of beast that they were last season in these lobbies, but still a very similar animal. And we'll see if that can be unleashed in this lobby today.
Just got to break more records. And when it comes to their records so far, it's been 50-50 off spawn on that Northwest side. That's what you're talking about. Right now, uncontested for the day. This is one of the teams I feel like that have that prowess, the talent, the potential to be one of those top teams if they get a history, a little bit, a legacy built up. But I think this might be one of their first qual rounds where they have a chance to actually, have a footprint in the lobby and not have their shoes stomped out right off spawn.
Yeah, we're actually gonna get a peek into one of the many sort of Storm Surge battles we'll see in the mid game. A box fight between Alien and Hardfire and Bad Sniper and DKS.
Why does this team choose to play FNCS on Insanity difficulty? DKS and Bad Sniper. I'm so confused. Like, Lazy Lake just going for some of the...
You're throwing it back.
I'm throwing it way back, man. It started there, like going for some of the hardest off-spawn contestants, never switching, right? And just roughing through it. Now just, perma contested at Tilted against Benji Savage every single season. And then every time we see them dealing with their Surge 11, it's a difficult box fight against, like, the most cracked 13-year-old player you can find that's landing pixel shots. Like, why?
Some people like the rush.
They got one with it too. That's the most surprising part. Like, they survive. They're sometimes top 5. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, man. Some people like the thrill. You know what I mean? So can't knock it till you try it yourself.
True.
He's in Hen, 449 above, playing Edge. Nothing unfamiliar, right, in terms of how they like to play their Surge. They like to sort of, especially with now not having vehicles, they like to sort of cower around the outskirts, sneak up on teams. That's one of their sort of staples, right? They like to just sneak around and see if they can get a little beam on the team. And it often works quite well.
I feel like Vortex and Janice end up doing that a lot too, but now you were wondering what was happening off of Spawn and Greasy. They were taken down in 48, right? So that's definitely off Spawn with how aggressive EU is today. And then AD and Hardfire not having eliminations. Was it Vortex and Janice that might have switched? And then it go wrong.
Possibly, right? There were people talking about whether they would disengage if they lose off Spawn, and so that is always a possibility, right? Players aren't bound to the POI if they land that, they can switch things up. This is one of the awkward parts, right? You see Queasy and Hen, they're trying to run towards zone, but you see there's players around them, right? And these are the things that are just so awkward.
Meanwhile,
right? Without that. Meanwhile, he's chilling, 490 above. He's comfy, ain't no problems.
Difference in power in the lobby too. I mean, no car. That's what you and Reese were talking about specifically, right? Like no car on Queasy and Hen, and they end up having so much more of a struggle getting towards these outside zones.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It is one of those things where it will take time for people to adjust. I think in these lobbies with these players, you'd expect adjustments to happen a bit sooner, right? If you're playing a solo cash cup anytime soon, it might take a bit longer for players to adjust. Players forget, oh wow, I actually have to rotate. Maybe I shouldn't just fight everyone I see, you know? in these lobbies, it won't be as bad, I'll tell you that. A bit sooner, right? If you're playing a solo cash cup anytime soon, it might take a bit longer for players to adjust.
All right, let's see exactly what the difference is between Hen and Queasy and the rest of leaders of the lobby.
It's another tough rotate for them. Look at how far they have to get to zone. It's actually really rough. Like, you can see they're watching their backs as well. They know there's players around. This is so difficult. Hey, chat, look, spam this cheesy to help Queasy. Am I right, Charlie? Am I right? Am I right?
I don't know. Spam something. I mean, drop a. I don't know what they need. I'm at a loss for words. I wish that airdrops came with vehicles or something to help these guys out. Like, can chat manifest wheels and axles, gasoline and metal to I don't know what composition cars are made out of, but
chat can do anything.
True.
No doubt, chat can do anything.
Sometimes they do too much.
Yeah, that is true.
But it's nice that they can actually have the ability now, you know what I mean? It's a...
Yeah, well, actually, right, the actual secret story, right, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but the secret story behind that is that, like, Zeke just accidentally turned it on and, like, he forgot. Nobody knows. Yeah, so...
Classic Zeke, bro.
We actually have to keep it low-key, otherwise someone might notice and fix it. So.
Don't worry, every time you talk about it, I have a mute button on his headset, so he's not going to hear you. Yeah.
Perfect. We like chat. Hopefully chat likes us, hopefully. Would it be on it?
El commentator.
Oh, goodness.
All right, Zandy and Joe, all right? You have to play the positive for this team, because for me, when I look at them, I see great potential, but a lot of the time, them stumbling, falling. Why does that happen? Is there potential actually there? Is my hater mindset correct? I would say no, but why?
I think your hater mindset is not correct. I actually think they are sort of like a dark horse team to quote today. Of course, I know they have problems on spawn in terms of being contested or whatnot, but like I actually really like them as a duo. Great fundamentals. I think, especially when it comes to firepower endgame, they definitely have the ability to go out there, get a bunch of refreshes if needed. So we'll see how they fare in these games. Yeah, I would not be surprised by them calling whatsoever.
It's top 5 though. It's going to be so tough just looking at some of these teams. Who possessed in there too? Fury, Bubak. On the left side, definite potential. And we always know there's 2 upsets. There's always those 5 teams that are the greats that everyone expects to roll in. But yes, these dark horses, the underdogs, they do end up coming in. I'm wondering, like, if Hen and Queasy have auto regen mats on. I have no idea how they still have any materials after all these long rotates and defensive positions and pressure relieving moments. They still have time to make a metal base. Like, where did we change them to have more mats in total 11? Like, are we helping? Is the chat actually doing something?
That's the supreme, you know, the map awareness, right? You know, Queasy knows that one like little thing sticking out the ground that he can hit for like 1,000 brick, you know? So, like,
yeah.
They get the mats up. They get the mats up all nice. You can see he is down a bit, right? They have had to burn some, and I'm sure they'll look to try and get that back. You can see they've knocked down that structure there. Nobody was in it though. Well, things aren't looking too bad for them, I'd say, in this moment. They'll have an easy sort of way to get to the next zone. Oh!
Okay.
So these guys.
It's just this. I've actually never like seen this in action. You know what I mean? Like I've seen it happen and like cast it over there, especially in zero build. I think it's a big strat, but they've made a whole base. This is like save the world.
So for context, right, for people who maybe are a bit confused, these guys are gonna just out heal the zone. Shio, they actually have like a mad heal strat where like they can like heal off for like almost 30 minutes on a good day, like on a good game if they get lucky and whatnot.
Against Surge?
Against Surge, they're vibing, they're fine most of the time. They've been practicing. I'll give them credit. You know, I'll give them credit. They've been practicing a bunch. Like they will grind this out for hours and hours every single day. They actually play in pro scrims and practice this in the pro games as well. So like they have been practicing and they've got to a round 4 of an FNCS qualifier with it. We'll see whether they can actually, you know, get a win or anything. I highly doubt that, but never say never. It is Fortnite at the end of the day.
We shall have to see a cross-map heal-off potentially in one of these games. I'm thinking about all the eliminations I've been watching so far, Levin, in these zones. And my mind blanks because there've barely been any. I feel like this Surge is about to go crazy. 64 players, some teams 700 damage above, Others 100 below. Lowless once again caught off on the backside. And in 13 seconds, it's going to be disaster for him as that Surge Lightning will strike. Already caught off on the backside of the zone. He's down. SC's gone as well. They've already been removed, eliminated. So many bases here in this barren desert. There's nowhere to hide once you start getting focused down. Your mats will bleed. And right now, it's Pink and the Nos that are hitting all the cuts on these bases.
Again, you can see here, for Xerix and Theko, they're down on Surge, and so they need to hit something and soothe. They've got a pad, which will be nice once movement zone start, but you know, they've got to get there. 10 players still need to go down before the threshold will stop, and they're getting pre-edited on. Oh, that is rough. That is so rough. Ryzen and Painter.
No!
Oh, Ryzen wasn't even able to get out of it alive. Painter now as a solo, but they pre-edited on those guys and absolutely cleaned them out. Tayson was actually the one now to pick up Painter as well, so he doesn't even stay in the game. And they went for a power play that they thought was going perfectly. And just like that, they get taken out. Tough times. Sops and Edison waiting out to see if they can hit some shots. This is really rough. Come on, guys.
No way. That was so crucial for them. 100 damage below. Unfortunately, big misses, and now you'll see the cost of it.
They need to jump back into creative, maybe hit some of the aim training maps in there. I know a couple codes, lads, I can sort you out. The pad will come through. Only a tiny bit now below, but gliding through, they've got to be careful. Oh boy, very lucky nobody had their eyes set on them. But now people do, even though they've landed. And that's actually going to be Hen running past. Swaps, there's just not much he can do in this moment. Ode needs to go down. He's so low, his teammates now done. They are above, but this is just going to be such a mountain to climb, Shire.
I mean, look at what's left. You might have max mats, but utility-wise, just that harpoon, I mean, is the best option. Maybe if Riftigals were allowed right now, that could be nicer, but what's happening here? Same situation as Swaps. Hen and Queasy. There definitely is a cost to moving towards the opposite side of the map from the POI you drop at. He's going to be a solo, and so is Pink once again. Nos is down in this zone, the 5th to 6th moving. I mean, I just don't even understand. In this section, that's where Pink and Nos are the strongest, but Pink has to be able to, just like Hen, solo this one again.
And you can see Hen, he's looking up at height. I'm sure, you know, he's upset. He would have wished he could actually do something about it there. But you can see a max zone. He's going to have to try and recycle this pad at some point. He's got 4 floppers, which will allow him to stay in the zone a bit, wait for those players to use it as he goes for himself. But this is really tough. The pad is an absolute lifesaver.
Does he have time?
But even then, he'll get in, but even then, he's such low HP. Needs to get landed. And the floppers are huge. But for how long shot, you can't just hold it as a solo here. He's going to have to try and make a play at some point. And even then, it's not enough. He goes down, and Pink as well. Another game, another solo clutch for the young one. 23rd at the moment. Or 23 teams in the game at the moment. Was able to get 8th last time. Will he be able to match that or even do a bit better? And Nas will certainly hope so.
Solomon the Mantle's all about making sure that whenever you knock on a box, you're not going to be doing it on the front side of it. Big shot and goes to the piece. Unfortunately, needed the spray. Pink is down and out of the way at 22nd.
Yeah, and Bad Snap and DKS now have made a play for height. They're sitting up above. Tayson and Chapik's a team that went for it last game. They do still have a pad, and so maybe that'll be an option. I'm sure they'll look to scout it once they use it. But Zone is pulling up towards that northeast, and so they've got to make their move in quickly. You can see Tayson looking for an opportunity to place that pad, and he sees height. And he's scouting it, he's looking at it, he knows he can block it down. It's only on one wall. What are they doing? Why did they only use one wall to hold up height? They've knocked it down. Can he take it or can he claim it? It doesn't seem like it. They weren't able to hit any big shots. And so now it's just going to be about being on the move, trying to stay ahead of the zone, getting to that front side, building up. And now they realize that their height is truly theirs. Another game where Tayson and Chapik have just been almost seemingly allowed to have height for not much whatsoever. And you can see I dropped in the back of the zone. He's on such low HP. It doesn't really feel like he's going to have a say on whether or not they keep it. But DKS and Bad Snapper, who were on it, I don't know how they weren't able to reinforce it better, but at least they're still in the game. At least they still have a fighting chance, and that's what they have to do here now that they've dropped down to the mid-ground layers.
They're trying to on the other side. There's Axe Force, who was going for the height for a second when the zones first started moving. So these are all the residual duos who failed to achieve the trophy of the maximum spot up top that Chadwick and Tayson have right now. Put aside Snazy, went down early in that first game. finally thriving now. Potosai getting a few eliminations, way more than a few. 6 for the big man, and a big shot too, denied with a window. That was clean from him. 7 rolling, 9 for the team, 3 for Tayson, and Chapek's up top. They're ready to make it all the way to that last spot and get this VR.
Yeah, and zone pulling towards the north, back over towards Rocky. Means all these teams are going to have to keep on burning through the materials. It'll give Tayson and Chapek a chance to get some eliminations. Potosai, who barely snuck in, I believe they qualified through to this in 50. If they will go down, not much they can do. You can see he was running on bare bones, and Kiro in the back of the zone with a med mist that's slowly running out. Eventually he's going to have to force his way in and hit a big shot as well to match it.
He's gonna be right in the sight lines of that high ground team. A long winding road with no cover down below. As soon as you touch dirt, that's where the pressure starts to ramp up. Meanwhile, the sunny heat from up top, the beams are just going down over and over again. Chapek and Tayson are not stopping any of the pressure. As a result, everyone down low, no materials at all. Satan Dark is looking for their shot to have a little bit of low ground control, but they're not finding much at all.
But you can see how long it took all these teams to get any form of control, right? All these teams left on low ground, they are just in such difficult positions. I'm sure Tayson and Chapek are laughing up above, right? They saw nobody even trying to build out to claim it. They know it's only a matter of time until their moment. They have to just stay connected. They can't afford to fumble it now. But if they can just stay up and really capitalize on just how weak the rest of these teams are, they really have a chance of getting their revenge, getting a victory royale. Satan, Darkies, they'll have to do their best to stop it. No materials here on Satan. The reinforced walls will come through, but at what point is that going to be enough? The zone's going to continue to pull, and you guys have to leave those boxes, and swiftly. If they just leave going into the open, Tayson and Chapek ain't going to miss these shots. You know they're going to hit them. Tayson does, but he gets knocked himself. Chapek's now in the zone. He gets some finishes, and that's going to be good in terms of the refreshes. But what do we have here? What do we have here? It's the heal-off team. It's the heal-off team against Chapek's. He still has a flopper left. Chapek's so in the zone, it doesn't seem like he's going to be in much trouble. But I believe Vontrix might have some more heals left. You can see him running towards a pile. It's not.
And he drops it all down. He understands there wasn't enough time. There was one team left. But Vontrix does exactly what he sought out to do. Got that second place. Meanwhile, Chapek's, I guess the zone is the name of the game. It melts the team that he was facing, and they get the victory royale.
I was so worried there for a second that Chapek's and Tayson would have been robbed of the victory royale. Right? Vontrix almost did everything he could in order to stay out. But at that point, you saw him chuck away the floppers. Chapek's would have known who he was up against, and he would have been swim sailing. Tayson and Chapek, after coming second in game 1, they pick up game 2. What a start. We talked about how they needed good momentum, Shayo, and there probably isn't a better start they could have asked for than this.
Yeah, you're talking about pick up game 2. I think they grabbed both game 1 and 2 by the throat and forcefully got their placement and eliminations, because those high ground retakes, Levin, are just insane.
Yeah, they are so aware. You can see Tayson had that eye. He saw, right? When he went for the high pad, he saw, hold on a minute, there's just one wall. All these guys playing at, knocked that wall down. DKS and Bad Sniper was forced down as well, and they just claimed it for themselves, right? If the lobby's going to keep giving them height so easily, they will keep taking it, and they will keep winning. I want to see what the desk have to say about that one. A very well executed win from those boys, but plenty more happened below them as well. Guys, what do you think?
Okay. I have a lot of questions. Okay. Reese and Boo. We'll pause on Tayson for right now. What's going on? What was that team? What was I watching? Talk to me.
Take it away, Boo. Yeah, all right. So let me start off this way. I VOD reviewed this team. You know, Vontrix and Jason. They are basically just utilizing the game's mechanics of having all of these white heal items in the game and just making themselves a late game. So they land over towards the left side of Sleepy. They get the boat. They did the little dead side rotate all the way towards Sundown's favorite spot of the flopper places. Fish over there. They go to Camp Cuddle, pick up the med miss, buy it from there, go all the way to Command Cavern, get themselves low launchers set up so they can perfectly execute the movement, and then they use the med miss on the zip lines to move around the map. And then they go from campfire to campfire. It's a whole bunch of math. It's kind of ridiculous, but honestly, I have to praise them. It's so much work and so much thought out dedication to get into this sort of position that's honestly just impressive. You can't fault them for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, but at the end of the day, we see that he knew after practicing it so much that they didn't have the time, right? They didn't have the time to win the game, so he just said, you know what, I'm chucking those extra floppers out, just end this game quicker, give us on the desk a little bit more time to talk about it because the game ends faster, and obviously then the win went to Chapek and Tayson.
I mean, I'm not surprised, right? We just saw them come in second place in that last game. And like Shywager was saying, right, this duo in particular, they're kind of one of these duos that I would put in like a class of their own. They're like, they just kind of, because their names exist in the leaderboard or within the 100 playing the game, everyone else is just going to kind of be aware of them at all times, right, Reese?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things you're going to be really concerned about straight up when these guys are in your game is, like, they are going to play like a duo who's been together for the longest time, right? Remember, we just said at the top of the show that these guys have been together only for, like, a small amount of time, right before this qualifiers when they started to play together as a duo. Yes, they played together as a trio in the last season, but again, that was kind of a last-minute team as well. But they play like a team who has that amazing synergy, who's practiced for months and months and months and months together, yet they haven't really, right? They've just such good individual players. Clearly, the chemistry works between them, and a first and a second so far.
Yeah, it's also because of the lack of the high-grown teams in this lobby, right? We have Hen and Queasy, far zone pool this game, and obviously we're also missing Pink and Anas, who keep going down very, very long on the leaderboard, as we can take a look at the standings here. Chapix and Tayson, first place. Only 8 points of difference, actually. Ralph and Krusty coming up there, Reese.
Yeah, massively up by 4 placements on the leaderboard overall, up to 73 points. Another team that had a really good game is Kefi and Melody, right? They're capitalizing on the fact that Cammy and Seti have not qualified through, so that Cammy split at Puddle Pond is free for the taking for another Polish duo to land at, and now that, after a huge game, have pushed them up till 4th. So that is massive, massive for them. Snazy and Podesine, 8th. Notice that, up 23 placements. I'm just excited about this new graphic, by the way, if you can't tell. And then 10th, Kovacs and Zrox. They were last. They were 50th. The dead last just before that game there, and have moved all the way up into top 10. So huge, huge match from them.
Yeah, that's a quick math coming out. Yeah. I wasn't going to be able to do it in my head. 11 plus 38, that's I think they were 49th last game. Mr. Satan and Darkest also having a really good game. Funnily enough, they do land near Hen and Queasy, but had a much better game this time. So maybe a little bit of different strategy coming out of these guys. A little bit more experience with the scuffed rotation.
Absolutely, 16th DKS and Bad Sniper again, moving up 32 placements, which is huge, huge for them because, again, we've seen the off-spawn mess that they've had, right? Yeah. We've seen them going up against Savage Bench. We've seen them, again, also going up against Vico's and Paxton as well. So it's like the mess that they're having in early game, that game they were able to capitalize, which was fantastic. But to get into the top 5, where all of the qualification is going to be a big ask for them still.
Man, and they sell 4 games, right? It's doable. Many things in life are achievable. You just have to make sure you're playing your cards right. I mean, we've already seen the difference, sort of, like just kind of going back to what we talked about with Mr. Savage, right? Benji Fish, that initial land. It looked like this early game, and then game number 2 was going to go well for them, Reese. But it didn't quite go that way.
Yeah, it didn't. We over there from Vico. Even though he didn't manage to get the weapon, Mr. Savage didn't pick it up first. You saw him kind of swoop over to the right and get in front of Mr. Savage to block him off from picking up the weapon. Now, it didn't work, but it was still cool at the same time.
I appreciate the aggression, right? Just trying to get in there and secure, like, okay, look, last time you got the 1-up, but we would like the 1-up. Let me just make sure I track this target down, full confirm them, and we keep going. But this is game 3, right? It's time to kind of change things up. But it's that time, Fortnite fam. Let's send it back over to Shywager and Levin2K for game number 3.
Welcome to the midpoint. Thank you so much, Zeke, Boop, and Reese. A lot happening in that game, definitely. The heal up exclamation was also just awesome to kind of see that side of the game. And that's a threat now, Levin, for all the players in the lobby. That's one place they might have to get rid of early.
Yeah, honestly, I think a lot of people would expect those guys to maybe be targeted almost, right? You know, if they're not going to fight us back, if they're just going to try sit there and heal, can we deal with them early on? But hasn't gone that way the first 2 games, and we'll see if it goes that way in the 3rd. Yeah, honestly, I think a lot of people would expect those guys to maybe be targeted almost, right?
All right, let's see exactly what changes up because these players have a few games under their belts. Now they understand what the off-spawn drop looks like. They know exactly how stressful the end game can be. Can Tayson and Chapix be stopped on height? Will Vontrex continue to heal? Find out in game number 3.
Oh, spoiler alert, Vontrex will continue to heal every single game. So, back over to Greasy. This is very interesting. You can see they've not even landed yet, and they're getting shot from the hill. That's because of the way the bus path went. It meant that the team over that side landed before them, were able to pick up a weapon, and that's made this fight so difficult there.
That was just so clean from ADN to put down the pressure that's only available this season as well. Yep, the hill combination with the duo just not being targeted on the side of ADN and Hardfind make Vortex and Genesis have a very rough start to their day.
Yeah, unfortunate for Genesis and Vortex, one of my favorite duos. But again, Aiden and Hardfine putting in the hard yards and winning off that fight. It'll be interesting to see whether or not an adjustment's made as we head into the next couple of games, because after going down off spawn a couple times, right, that can really affect your momentum, your morale. Makes you question certain things maybe you shouldn't question. We're getting a part 2 here at Command Cavern. This time, Malibuke is the one that's down, and Mustache is having to fend for himself. But for how much longer? Because he actually gets taken down as well. So, Anas in pink winning that fight off spawn without the help from Tayson and Chapix this time round. And a really nice start to what has been an unfortunate day for them with some of the issues they've had in the previous games.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about Anas making one of these end games than them really winning off spawn, personally. So, let's see if it's a possibility in this game. And then Queasy though, Sleepy Sound, some trouble here so far. Low HP totals on both. Yeah, I'm more concerned about Anas. We see if they can really rock him. Than them really winning off spawn, personally. So, let's see if it's a possibility in this game.
Unfortunately, it doesn't look like these guys have got zone. Very unfortunately. We talked about on the desk, right? They talked about how that's actually impacted them, right? I believe it was Creep, maybe it was Reese, man. It was Reese, same guy, you know? Just same guy, just different countries,
Roop?
you know? Roop.
Beast?
Are we shipping them together now? Roop.
Isn't that also just someone in the community? I swear.
Someone called Roop?
Yeah.
I must not know the community well, mate. I don't know any Roops. So.
Oh, we keep rocking. Floki Clement on the board. Isn't that also just someone? Are these guys the GOATs right now? I know you hate that term.
Look, after those 2 eliminations, they may be the GOATs right now, bro.
Yeah.
It may just be, look, Chonkers, they used to fight in more teams at Chonkers, to be fair. They used to having like 3 or 4 guys in this area. It's not been as bad today. Only having to do with 1 there. So we'll see what they can actually do with that. Because I think that's always like, you always get that sort of leeway where it's like, oh yeah, man, you would have done so well, but you had like 7 teams contesting you, man. It's like, oh man, you ain't really got anyone there today. What can you guys do?
No, because then the excuse is now we're used to having, you know, 4 teams. There's no surge. Like, we can't do much.
The odd classic. The odd classic. We'll see though. I'm back in the French boys. Another duo that I actually got the pleasure of meeting. Floki doesn't speak great English, but he agreed to teach me French if I teach him English. And now we have a bond that can never be broken.
Sure, I was trying to find a way to break it, but that's a pretty solid bond, yeah.
It's a solid, bro.
That's a pretty solid bond.
It's foolproof.
Good trade deal, good agreement, yeah.
So I'm gonna be rocking up next time around, speaking French, as long as nobody minds. So.
Very nice. I'll learn it too then.
Nah, stop copying my flow, bro. Be unique.
But you have such a nice flow, man. It's I just got it, you know.
It's alright, bro. I understand. We've just hopped around to like every French duo. Floki, Clement, and Alexis. He's now at Podesize Nazy.
I was about to say, I was like, am I watching trios? We just went for Alexis Nazy straight up. I got some nice flashbacks.
Honestly.
Let's look at their fight. They also had a very rocky day starting off so far. Put aside though that last game, I mean, we saw the eliminations he had, the big edit open as well, that window, 54 points total. They brought it back in that last end game, and now they're still rocking.
Yeah, 7th place ain't too bad, considering, you know, in round 3 they actually came 50th, right? So they were like the last team to qualify through. Very easily could have not been in this lobbies, I should say. But to be here now and to be impressing, actually does match the trend, right? Podesize this season's been really impressive. Very much surprising people in terms of, he's obviously been someone that's been around the scene for a while. His performance has started to dip for a bit, but this season, he's brought it back a bit. We'll see if that continues today.
Check out Andy and Joe as well. Under pressure, I feel like is where these two just perform. But also, the fight for high ground, I feel like in terms of end game is where they see a majority of their points actually roll through. Against Tayson and Chatpix, against some of these teams that are just there, even iDrop and Jerky, I feel like it's so hard to be able to just passively take it. Never really see Zanny and Joe fighting for it. They kind of just start with it and hold on defensively the entire time. It's just there's too many tough teams that are so good at that high ground fight. I don't know if they can adjust their gameplay to go for any other type of gameplay, strat.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those tough ones where, right, like a lot of the teams, who are sort of better in that regard, sort of understand the right sort of triggers to go for it and the timings where teams will be vulnerable, especially those zone transitions, right, is where you want to be looking for high ground, or whether you can, any actual layer you're on, right, zone transitions are when you want to try to exert control, because things are sort of hectic, everyone's sort of adjusting to where the new zone pulls. For these guys, Queasy and Hen, it's obviously been tough. The nature of the way the zones have played have meant that they can't maybe exert that control the way they'd like to in these games, having to sort of traverse throughout the whole map to get there. And now in a standoff, still over towards Sleepy, not looking ideal for them.
That zone is, yeah, as you mentioned, towards that south side a little bit as well, so it's going to be tough once again for the duo. Shizo and Grols, one good game followed by another consistent one. Gonna be seeing if they can actually just hold on to the top 5. I feel like some of these qualifications do come off some nice game 1, game 2s into playing consistently, and that is what this team is going for. Lolos and Esti, being bullied game after game, are in that same spot right now.
Yeah, Shizo and Grols have done a good job of getting to those end games consistently. We'll see if that trend continues. Obviously against Lolis and XD, they've not had the best day, and so if they're going to win a fight, it probably would be this one. Let's not speak too soon. You can see now they're in the zone. The zone is ticking. It won't be doing too much damage, so they won't be worried about how much time left they have to fight, especially considering they have a Medness and some chug splashes, but can't afford to allow someone to run at you with a drum gun. With a drum shotgun, I should say, sorry.
I was about to say.
Yeah, it's jumping over different seasons.
It's all good though. I mean, it has kind of the same effect as that drum gun when it comes to the pressure. Shizo, Grols, just one little second of air, one little second of shots in the body, and that fight is wrapped up.
You can see the boys, Tayson and Chapix, over towards Greasy. They've come down from command. They've opted to stay on this side.
How is it when it comes to Tayson and Chapix specifically in this round of qualifiers? They just make the height take look easy. Like identifying that one wall you just saw in that first game, or the game we just watched. And the first game height take as well was just, it was so fluid.
Honestly, I don't want to underplay the nature of these lobbies, right? But it has been easy for them in the sense of, the other teams that know how to secure height properly are having to travel the whole, map and are spending so much, right? Like, the honest, with Queasy and Hen, they're traveling all the way across the map. They're so low on materials. They can't really play for high ground the way they want to. Same with iDrop and Jerky, or should I say, the Big Drop and Jerky. He specifically wants to only be called the Big Drop, so, I'll do him a solid there. So, these guys are obviously landing towards the north side. And of course, Tayson and Chapix are landing north side as well, right? But they have an IO car, right? So, they don't have to spend the sort of materials that the other guys have to spend when traveling all the way south. So that's going to be the biggest thing. Of course, maybe as the zones start to favor them, the other teams, if they do in the later games, maybe that could be something you see. But look, this is just so rough for Queasy and Hen. Like, I know Queasy. Queasy will not be happy. Queasy will be complaining. Why can't we get a zone? Why can't we get a zone? That's not my greatest Queasy impression, but something along the lines of that, right? You won't be happy, honestly, and it's unfortunate, but they're just gonna have to sort of roll with the punches for now.
Yeah, well, the most impressive thing for them is, like, even if they do well today, they've essentially played 12 games, whereas everyone's played 6 in terms of pressure, in terms of journey. Like, that is so rough.
Honestly, if we do get like some stats, I'd love to see distance traveled, right? In terms of just a distance traveled stat would be great. I'm sure they'd be high up there in the distance traveled. Because they have just had to travel so far. We'll see.
Surge as well, specifically in this qualifier, has been a very patient one. A lot of the times you see some teams maybe even lose composure in that game number 2 and start going for quick rushes. But we're seeing upwards of, 60 plus players surviving towards that half and half surge. And a lot of passiveness. Just passed off spawn for a bunch of teams. Tayson and Chapix boxed up the entire time. Similarly, about 20 other teams are doing the same thing. It's tough for any of these free walkers to find any tags on anyone else.
Yeah, we're seeing. And that's
one job.
Yeah, nice.
There's one job. There's just no car shenanigans, no nothing. Just survive towards
just fingers crossed for Anas here. Does Anas have a chant, guys? Chat, can we come up with a chant for Anas? I don't know what we can spam for Anas, but we need to give him something because...
Is there a grass emoji?
He needs...
Spam this grass to help Anas?
You're so American for North America.
Man, you guys don't have grass in the UK?
Well, okay, I'm British, so... I'm Southern British, so I say grass, so it doesn't really work,
Anas, grass.
If I was maybe like from up north in the UK, maybe I'd say grass, so it'd work.
Yeah.
Scram this grass to help Anas, but it just from where I'm from, bro, in London, it don't really work. I'll be real.
Steal a page from Boop's journal and just go spam this sync to help Anas in pink.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that works. That works. That works, guys. That works. From where I'm from, bro, in London, it don't really work. I'll be real.
Raisin and Payne are going to be rocking in as well. I think this is one of the most fun teams to watch. Deal with Search. They always get hyperactive, go for those box fights.
Yeah, they love their free edit plays, don't they?
I'm actually going to mention something about it if they end up running off with this one while using up. Yep, there it is, the first one, because there's going to be a fourth free edit. Doesn't even matter. Auto shotgun is rolling. Blue is down. Ryzen is just chomping, stomping in. He finds both. Oh, Reyna's down, or Payne is down as a result. That's gonna be tough. The last time when those pre-edits were active to get these guys into boxes, the reason that Ryzen actually went down is Payne picked up his knocked body, threw him at a wall that he needed to build, but it was his pre-edited wall. And he went right through, and then Tayson picked up the elimination. So you have to make sure to reset those pre-edits as you rock in. Queasy and Hen next to a reboot van that just sounded somewhere. Hen is down. Queasy still walking around, was at 200 HP and got beamed and has to spend all his metal to try to get in. This is so sad for our previous FNCS winners.
It's painful, man. It's honestly painful. Like, there's just not much they can do there. They just get held, right? They are so deep, they have to travel so far that they literally just get held in by the teams that are ahead of them. It's just... it's so tough for those guys, man. I really feel for them. They're just getting unlucky with zones, it happens.
Maybe leave early, leave some loot behind, but you always have that process, the embedded way to loot your POI. It's going to be so tough to even try to make a call to rotate early. I have no idea how the map even moves. There's always, those chat analysts that roll in. Why didn't they just, leave earlier? There's so many different things that are taken into account and are so different when you mess up with the timings. Meanwhile, though, let's look at some of the bases, some of the people who are up at this portion of the game. Floki and Clement have a very good spot towards center zone. Anas and Pink, both players. Am I looking at this correctly? Alive?
I think they'll probably ditch the vehicle from this point onwards. No particular reason, but
no reason at all.
I think they'll just stay on foot from this point. Probably the wiser option for them at this stage. Did I just see Mr. Savage?
I was about to say the same thing.
Did I just see Benji Fish? Oh my goodness.
That go down, so they're active. I think the one main thing about Benji and Mr. Savage, especially in FNCS qualifier rounds, around fours, they might not make 4 of the games, right? Towards endgame. The 2 they make are the most banger games from a duo you see, right? Like, and they have so many points, it feels like they've played 8. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Of course, like, as anybody does, I've watched quite a bit of Benji this season, and his technical levels are still just so high in terms of what he can do in game, right? Mechanically, it's almost unfair still. But can he get that grip? Can he have Savage there to really lead him the way he needs to go? Of course, if they get to end game, there's always that possibility. We know what Savage's intuition is like in those moments. And so, yeah, I think I'll be spamming my cabbages in the chat for Savage as well.
That's what we like to hear.
Back in the
TKS
boys.
going down, so they should have like a morale boost right now. In
Yeah, I'm
terms
sure
of
they're celebrating right now.
they're going to be looking good. This team, though, I feel like we're just not paying enough attention to in some of these end games. Chazo Gross, it's been consistent. Maybe that's why it's been invisible almost the way they've been playing. If this is another good game for them, it might solidify their top 5.
Yeah, that's going to be really huge. They've done brilliantly, of course. 4 eliminations already at this point in the game is huge. Don't have to worry about Surge. They use their resources. I don't know if they had a pad. I can't remember. I don't think they did. And so their rotations will have to be pinpoint perfect. Same could be said for these guys in terms of the fact that, you know, contesting off spawn at Greasy means that they don't know. Technically, even though they've done really well and they've basically been bossing it there, next game they might not get to play it out, right, if they go down on spawn. So you really have to make use of your games when you get contested. They actually do have a vehicle, and so I'm sure some people will know, wait, Levin, I thought you said vehicles were taken out of the game. How do these guys have a vehicle? At Greasy, there is a Lambo that's actually just sort of like broken down, right? It looks broken down, but if you chuck some Chonkers tires on it, you can actually use it. And so that's why those guys have a vehicle, yeah.
And the Whiplash, in effect, being used.
The Whiplash.
Yeah, with the Chonkers. You like to see it. Hopefully it gets to survive and speed around. Relvis and Krusty. Gonna be in a very different type of situation as they're down on Surge. Same thing with Tayson and Chapix. Maybe staying a bit too low-key, maybe being a bit too observant for the moment, but I mean, one player's editing, the other one doing damage. They should be good to go in just a second. 125 is a lot harder to catch up on than just 48. Krusty and Relvis are basically perma box fighting to get this damage down.
Yeah, they've got to be careful about how they play the angles. They don't want to expose themselves too much to the rest of the lobby. That could be cause for third parties. Michael and Astro, though, they've got to be aware because what was that? That was very, very nice from Krusty and Relvis. Completely caught them unawares. The chunk splashes are huge. You need to take those, my friend.
They're melting. They're still in the zone.
Yeah, they got to get into the safe zone. There is a pathway to be had, so they'll build in. But really nice stuff from those guys.
Now watching exactly where we are in terms of the zone as well. Very similar to last game, Barren Wasteland. It's the south side desert, and when you're on low ground, it gets really tough. You have no reprieve, you have no, you know, easy cop out of the ground falling like it's a mountain and getting a little bit of breathing room to be able to work. Everyone falling down is going to be desperate, very close to you. It's going to be tough to operate on low. Meanwhile, Vico, Jackson down. These are the remnants of the tilted teams. It seems like every time Benji and Savage survive, no one else is allowed to play from tilted. Mentioning their names, right beside the big drop and Jerky, who've gotten an airdrop as well. This is going to be huge for them to open up possibilities of a pad. Many other goodies. The heals they desperately need right now. I think drop has a 50 pot to pop. Yep, it's right there and it's good. Everyone moving in now, though. You can hear the cars rev up. You can see the pads fly from the top side. iDrop wants an even better spot. They're not all the way in just yet, but they really build high, and they're almost into the zone.
Yeah, I think they realized that they had to ramp that team in order to actually have a stamp of control there. They weren't going to be able to go through underneath them. Ramping them was the right play. But of course, iDrop has that pad. Obviously, they had to burn quite a bit of materials to secure that position, but it'll be worth it in the long run.
Very scary setup for the zone specifically as well. iDrop and Jerky on one side. That's a high ground team that really wants it. All the way towards the top. The bottom, Chapix and Tayson are there. You know, they're going to be going for height as well. In the middle is Andy and Joe. They have a chance too. So we just have like obelisks or totems all around the circle. All these height teams up in skyscrapers. Wherever the zone pulls is who gets control first, and that is going to be the top side. So Jerky and iDrop have reign of height first. They will be padding what seems like all the way last, and already Chapix and Tayson, they move straight there. They're in with the game plan too. They might have not been the first visitors, but they're ready to play and join the party.
Yeah, I think the big thing here, right, is that we're going to see these guys stagger their rotation, right? They're going to wait for other teams to sort of glide their way in, try and pick up some tags, maybe even some eliminations on the way, and then wait for the last possible moment to pad up, make sure that they are the highest in the sky in order to claim that high ground once they can get close to the zone.
We saw how they did it in game 2. When everyone padded, they took some extra damage and went for a repeat pad. That's how they just had that free height.
Yeah, we're seeing that come through now. all these teams moving away, and you can see Chapik's in the top of your screen, right? He's looking backwards, making sure he's pressurizing teams, and then clearing the pathway for that launch pad to come through. The team was actually running over their box, so they've got to be a bit careful, right? But the pad will come out, a high pad, and you'll see again, they'll be looking at it, they'll be figuring out whether or not they can take it. It looked relatively well enforced. It'll be interesting to see who it was up there, and it is Anas and Pink. And that's why it's harder to take. They enforced it much better than we saw in the last game. It's not just on the one wall. And from this point onwards, can these guys continue to hold it out? Pink reinforcing it, making sure it's connected. But they have to make sure that they pressure the teams on second height. Don't allow any of them to actually get a chance to even look up to try and take it from you. iDrop and Jerky will pad in the back of the zone, and they're looking to land on high. They want to get it. They're landing up there, and a fight's breaking out, I'm sure. Floki all by himself on low ground. As you can see, iDrop and Jerky have taken it. The big drop has high ground in this game. And we saw them in this position before. Can they hold on to it?
Round two.
It's a big question.
Second team all the way in. He's going for it. Screwy takes it and maybe even drops him off. T-Chips is now also going straight for height. And Us is back. Round number 3. We're going for the third instance of this fight. Making him have to give it up just slightly for the moment. Still very strong on mats. Entirely too. It's a break. And iDrop and Jerky still have control.
Yeah, we're seeing iDrop and Jerky. But how much longer? You can see Anas, he's trying to break it out. They're not pressuring him enough. They're allowing him to just chop it. And if they continue, they might have it for themselves. Are we going to see a bit of a Anas piece right now? Right now, Pink's the one doing the big damage, and then Anas can actually take it down to wood, but that'll be all right because iDrop and Jerky have not happened to be able to keep it. iDrop actually will go down. I don't know if Jerky will follow him, but Pink and Anas take it for themselves.
That's just huge, and while all this commotion's going up top with builds, the bullets are flying down below. Snazy, 6 eliminations. We saw Floki for the moment before as well. He had 6. These solo pop-offs are insane on the low ground. I'm looking at where Tayson and Chapik are, but I don't see a second orange light, so he might have gone down at some point. It's just Tayson, so there is no 5th high ground retake. Pink and Anas have it for now.
But we've seen Tayson have solo clutches before. One of the best solo players to ever grace this game. And so this will be his chance to show why everyone crowns him with that title.
Floki's still alive and still getting a few eliminations all the way on low ground. Shizo finally going down, but his teammate also still up, so many high point performances are still active inside this game. Grows rolling in, 2nd place overall, looking to take the lead from Tayson, who's alive right now. 2 solo players have the lead, kind of the 1st place spot, the podium on their hands for the midpoint of the tournament. Seeing exactly what he can do. Art skill right below Tayson as well. He's gonna have to go through a duo. He's pinched on both sides before he's allowed to play this game. He has to get rid of 1. 7 teams all in an impasse. Tayson with a big 117, but there's way too many avenues to look at. He gets caught in the crossroads.
Yeah, no potential to play in the zone and outlast teams with any heals. He just had to get right into the thick of it, but he couldn't handle it. Way too many people down there. Groves was one of them, but how long will it be till Groves actually follows Tayson back to the lobby? You can see he's trying to stay up. 52 HP. Doesn't have any potential to play in the zone, so he has to just stay in it and hope that nobody manages to find anything onto him. But right now, Anas and Pink, they've got easy pickings down below, but do they know it? They need to get involved. Watch a shot from Groves. Can he hit another one? He can't. He goes down. But you can see Pink will follow him down as he drops down, trying to pick up these final eliminations. It's been such a clean game for them. Round after round, they went for height, and they have the endurance. They go the distance. They win the game. Pink and Anas, after 2 games where it didn't quite go their way, they finally roll through the game winners of the lobby and do it in emphatic fashion. Shayo, a brilliant display from these boys.
A walk in the park, a stroll in the sand for them. 5 different high ground retakes happening, and they're the ones to kind of hold on and start it over in round number 1, and now they're here winning that same game. It's just nuts to see. Pink with a big shot as well to wrap it all down. That was just a masterclass on how to play defense and really take back what belongs to you, the victory royale.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Pink and Anas picking up a 6 elimination victory royale. 5 more than they usually get with their victory royales. I'm just playing. These guys had a brilliant game. Guys on the desk, hit us up. What went down? We saw so many battles for high ground. Can this keep happening?
Dude, Levin's over here, dude. He's just kidding me, dude. I'm just kidding. Yeah, man, game number 3 was definitely a turning point here in qualifier number 1 in the European region. Reese, I feel like everyone's awake now. They're like, no. We're not just going to hand away high ground. If you're going to do anything in this game, you're going to work for everything. Low ground, high ground, doesn't matter. You're working for it.
Yeah, exactly. And Pink and Anas are the team who's managed to capitalize on that, right? That's the first game they've managed to get to end game as a full duo, and they're on high and they're winning. Like, this is what this team does. This is the reason they got 4 victory royales at the 7 in that previous round. This is why they always in set lobbies manage to pick up tons of victory royales, usually 2. So I'm just saying right now, this is 1, and potentially maybe a second one in the second half. But up in the leaderboard, it'll be interesting to see exactly where they are now, because they've definitely started creeping higher towards that top 5.
Yeah, and Game 3 seems to be that magic number, right? That's the 3rd victory royale in the Game 3 during the FNCS set lobbies, which is kind of a ridiculous statistic there to think about it. But like you said, you know, it's always them winning a game in these set lobbies. And the question is, where was the other high teams? Well, this time, Taste and Chapix weren't here. And also, we're missing Hen and Queasy. These 4 zone pools are definitely struggling with the lack of the car meta. And, you know, when Anas and Pink finally make it to the late game, guess what? They win the game. So, you know, that's going to be the battle for who wins this game. Taste and Chapix, Anas, Pink, and Hen and Queasy. Just depending on where the zone goes, though.
Also, you said earlier to me they're going to win game 4. Now they've just won game 3, so maybe it's going to be 3 and 4.
Hopefully.
Let's take a look at the standings here as we wrap things up in game number 3. Still 3 more ahead of us, but we can kind of start to see some things develop here, right? Tayson and Chapix, that's Uguay there at the top. They're currently sitting in first place, and remember, we're looking to land in that top 5 here at the end of the 6 games. That'll auto-qualify a duo right into the next stage of the competition. I mean, I'm looking right now, and okay, first and second place, sure, they're kind of pulled far away, but you know, Boop, it's 3rd to like 10th. It's not that split.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a game of 1 games, if that makes sense, okay. Right? All you need is 1 decent game. As you see here, Floki and Clement moving 12 places up the leaderboard. Similarly, also, I want to mention Podosai and Snazy, right? 5 places up on the leaderboard, but they're also being contested. So if they can make those games count, that's all you need to do. Just 1 crucial game, get yourself those eliminations, and put yourself up the leaderboard.
Yeah, that's what I would have mentioned. There would be Grols and Shizo up in second. Now, obviously, they saw so far ahead. It's massive. 10 eliminations in the final game. 10 eliminations, only 4th place. So if they keep up that fragging potential, like that should be, I mean, realistically, since they're on 122, they're so far ahead of the 2nd or the 3rd place team right now, almost 40 points. Looks like it could be an easy qualification for them.
I mean, we can't forget as well Anas and Pink after that game. Now they're online, right? They're ready to go. They do have a pretty good average placement overall. Here we can see them on your screen. Now, these are the stats from round number 3, so yesterday. But we can use this as a pretty good metric to kind of measure against today.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what we mentioned, right? The victory potential coming out of Pink and Anas. The high ground play style that they have is just so strong. And I am so interested to see, given the fact that this was the first time that they had a successful mid-game where they managed to get themselves both into in-game, and that was a victory royale. It's like, you know, 100% success rate from 5th zone onwards so far.
I mean, I want to mention that we do meme them slightly, right, about the amount of eliminations that they get in endgame, but that just shows you how good they are. If you can make it to those final moving zones with 1 or 2 eliminations, it means you're the most efficient team in the lobby. You're using very little build, using very little shield, and you're just making it there consistently. So their game plan is far above and superior to everyone else.
And on top of that, like, they've been getting better at elims. Like, usually, my note specifically from last season is this is a finals team, and this is a team that basically performs in set lobbies. But now we've seen them in kind of open lobbies, in earlier rounds of FCS and opens of Cash Cups, do really well to pick up high elimination games. They even had a 19 elimination game in one of the earlier rounds of FNCS, which is unheard of for this team in particular. So they've got their weakness of getting eliminations, and it's clearly improving as time's going on, which I think is one of the reasons why this team's going to be unstoppable this season.
Yeah, you saw them drop down that game, right? You never see Pink ever drop down from high ground. This time, he was down there fragging. He was getting involved with that SMG while Anas was just chilling, trying to get the piece going. But yeah, they're making something happen, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, another team I want to talk about, Relvis and Krusty, right? Oh, yeah. Like, a team who us three, sorry, don't leave you, Zizzy. How dare you? Haven't really mentioned so far. They are, like, fragging out so bad. There was a particular clip, let's see, look at this. Look at production hooking up for me there. That beautiful 2-piece from Krusty here, where obviously jumps straight outside the box and goes back. Like, these guys have such a good fragging potential so far in each individual clip, right? You're seeing these clips are almost like highlights, but when you look at the average elimination eliminations they're getting, it's like 3 per game. So it's like, you know, each individual elim they get is really nice, but they're not really getting that whole load of them. They're just being super consistent, always getting through to the end game.
We'll have to see, man. 3 more games. They could really surprise us. Make it in that top 5. I'm down for that, okay? You guys make that happen. I'll be here for it. But it's time for game number 4. So we're going back on board that battle bus. We got 11-2K. We got Shy Wager. This is game number 4.
Calling it. This is going to be the best game we watched so far, 11. I think game number 4 is the banger game. You know, it's right after the midpoint. Some people frustrated. Everyone got their stuff sorted out. We're just ready to go.
Yeah, I think people finally sort of hit their rhythm, hit their momentum. Some teams' momentum just been completely sort of shut down, right? So it does work both ways, but I'm looking forward to it, right? We're already seeing the development of some of these places of Spawn that we were very excited about. Of course, now some of the big teams, big high ground boys getting back involved in the lobby in Pink and Anas. All things considered, I'm pretty excited. I'm happy.
They are here and hopefully here for this game as well. And just seeing the difference in how a game is when Tayson and Chapix have height versus Pink and Anas. I mean, if both of them are finally allowed to coexist, I don't even want to think about how that looks.
Can we get a North Zone, though? Maybe?
For the one
maybe?
time?
Just the one time?
Let me talk to my people in the back. Let's just get into the game first.
All right, cool.
They are here and hopefully here for this game as well. And just
all right, so North Zone activated. Spoiler alert. We will have a North Zone.
I'm still talking to him, man. I'm still talking to him. Hold on.
You ain't sorted it yet? All right, cool. My bad.
It depends on who goes down, and Tilted Towers is what I've been told. If it's DKS and Bat Sniper that don't make it off spawn, it'll be a North Zone. If Benji and Savage go down, it'll be South Zone. Same thing here, actually. I'm just getting word. If Aiden and Hardfind go down first, South Zone. If they win, North Zone. Simple.
Okay. Well, then it's definitely a South Zone then. Because these guys aren't going down. These guys have been bossing it over towards Greasy Grove, and we're seeing it again. Janice goes down. Oh, dear.
It's too free. There's just no way. They're making it look effortless. And Vortex as well. I mean, I understand the big, you know, bass shop, the fishing shop in the middle. It's just so much power, so much control, a lot of loot. You have Nano landing here too. Third team rocking in. They've kind of given up their side of the map. This is going to be tough for anyone, honestly, to find any room to play off of from Greasy Grove. Unfortunately, Vortex and Janice are the first focus, and it's going to be an easy find for this duo.
Yeah, it's so tough, man. I do. I feel, you know, I'm split between the middle here, right? You know, big fan of Hardfun and ADN, one of the few UK duos left still kicking it. And Janice and Vortex. Janice is quite literally my teammate, you know. That's my, that's my duo partner, do you know what I mean? So to see him not doing well, it's rough, but those guys will go down again. And the British boys will be bouncing right now. They have just been rolling off spawn so far.
We got Nano and Lou to still work with. Pink taking a little bit of damage, but I see no elims. That's what I was looking for this team so far. Mustache and Malabuka looks like they have the advantage this time and will be on the offense, and they're not going to stop now. Builds available for Anas to have a little bit of a prolonged fight, but this is the scariest position we've seen so far for Pink and Anas in the early game. Pink down to 1 HP as well off of a big shot. They can get out with this cannon at any moment, but I don't think Pink has the HP just yet to make that escape.
Yeah, it's down to the big Anas really to sort of put the team on his shoulders right now, because Mustache and Malabuka are no easy team to battle against, especially when they have seemingly the advantage. They just have so much control right now. And you can see Anas's build just continually being burned. He's trying to get up, trying to force the issue a bit, understandably. Can we see a bit of an Anas piece right now? Mustache keeping his distance, not giving him a chance, hitting a 41. Just gonna force Anas back down as well. This is really awkward for the team that just won.
Hold up. Still a chance on this side. Anas with a few angles, still buying a little bit of time for Pink. Not much going down though. Maybe they're waiting for Tayson and Chapix to do something. I'm not sure what the angle is here from this duo. There's no way you're gonna be able to survive and do much down below. I was saying maybe close range is a good option because Mustache has no SMG ammo, but that's there now. Pink trading a few damage shots, and now 2 teammates on both sides are down on low HP. Pink finally knocked. Mustache super low. The Siphon coming in for Malabuka, so okay, there's the big trade. Now it's a 1v1. Anas with a quick finish too. They're going for it. Siphon materials not really picked up by Anas, but he's going for the all-in straight inside the box. Goes for a little bit of control. Tayson and Chapix are here from the back. And no, they get taken down and Austin Pink are gone. Malabuka too. There might be no winners off of this fight when there's 3 teams in the POI.
That is so painful, man. Like Shayo said, nobody wins. Tayson and Chapik just putting an end to that shenanigan. Wow, they did not even give them an inch of a chance, man. And Nash just starts taking shots in the back. And it's just wraps like, oh, wow. Well,
that's just, man, like, it's the same thing that was happening at Tilted, right? Like, DKS Bad Sniper looting up, Mr. Savage fighting over and over again. They finish their fight, DKS cleans up. Over here, this is such an isolated fight on the side of the mountain. Tayson and Chapix went out of their way to come here and go for those elims. I mean, it's just too much.
It's always painful when you see a team who does so well in the previous game go down so early. That just is what happens sometimes, man. Fortnite.
Yeah, I had some slight confusion a little bit because I saw Malabuka pick up the elimination onto a Nos. But that's just because he got the last shot. As a result, though, that 2-point difference makes Grols the one effectively in the lead. And we're going to watch that early game fight. Look at the difference in skill ability and narrative for this one. They just land in these landing diff landmarks. I mean, the fight just looks so much easier compared to what some of the top pros are fighting over at Cavern.
Yeah, big props to Grols and Shizo. They have been very impressive. Not a team that's vying for height, right? And so, you know, we don't see them necessarily in that battle, but at the end of the day, they won't mind not being in that battle if they can just continue to push themselves in these standings above everybody else. And Grols trying to make his journey to his second FNCS. Made his first one last season, finishing in 6th. And maybe he's gone under the radar, but definitely part of this newer generation of top Fortnite players that are going to be cementing themselves in the region. Flixie and Kiduo will be wiped out by my guy Ziandi.
They'll rock in and rock out. Clement and Floki. A little bit of familiarity with them fighting a few people off of spawn. It looks like that's might be why, you know, they're even ramping up in the placements and the elims they see every single game. Floki with a nice cone to stop the Spare from being able to escape the fight or have his own reign. They swap out and tag team Clement in, but it might not be the best. Oh my goodness, Maxi, what was that?
What a play. Honestly, what a play. That is really something, and it's going to be so heartbreaking if he falls so shortly after it. Some nice damage by Sky Doom. And he's looking for the piece. Maxtree's not making it easy though. He is just scurrying away as much as he can. With Destru coming in, it just becomes impossible for him. Oh, dear. He did so well there, Shayo.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of fuel to be able to do that, right? In terms of personal prowess and shots. That was a nutty pre-fire onto Clement on the back, and then I don't know why they just didn't both take the fight 2v1. I mean, maybe just a little bit of overconfidence and the damage done. Maybe weapons weren't loaded completely on the side of Floki and Clement, but I mean, Maxtree just gives us a nice little highlight reel in the early game. Yeah, but it takes a lot of also, Sanctuary fights. Thoughts on them, London?
You see, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. Big trouble. And I prefer not to be in trouble. So I prefer not to speak.
No, I see. It's so tough being able to actually find anything useful in terms of an advantage in this POI. It seems like it takes so long. Usually the fights we see here never go well for either player, but for Hype and JJT, they're rolling in and quickly actually find a drop. One quick pickup. This is where things can get super delayed though. The setups, the roundabouts, the mazes can be tough to decipher. Sometimes you can just brute force the password though. That's exactly what Hype does. Rolling in, they pick up their opponents really fast.
Yeah, I like that approach a bit more, you know. Just get right stuck in. It's my cup of tea. This isn't my cup of tea though. Astro, what are you doing there, buddy? You're in zone, buddy. Yeah, move back in Fury. We'll deal with him. It's a shame.
The most interesting thing I've seen from Fury and Bubak so far is that they've been in very similar positions in multiple games, like Tayson and Chapix have in terms of the half and half zone and where they are. But I think their approach to mid and low ground right now, with the way the zones have been going, not actually working out the best for them. So maybe have to adjust that this game, take a few more risks. That being said, the consistency will be rocking in. NLX like Squeeze too, getting a few eliminations before the end game really starts. But maybe it's Surge, maybe it's their overall position, the lack of pads even to have them, in trouble converting their positions and the placements overall.
Yeah, and NLX and Squeeze not necessarily had the best team that people will be expecting to rise up. Of course, one of the typical tropes that is discussed when Andalex is mentioned is his ability to come back, right? Always the back half of events, the back half of tournament days where he starts to rise. And we've reached that point, right? So hopefully now we'll see these guys have a couple better games. Speaking of better games, Tayson and Chapix, ain't been too bad.
Yeah, and they've created kind of a power vacuum for NLX and X-Squeeze to step into, right? Like, Mustache Malabuka, really powerful low ground team, not there this game. Pink and Anas, the tempered high ground, not going to be a possibility either. So a lot of these teams looking to have a bit more room should be able to play. Shizo should be good to go. And this might be the turn for NLX.
Well, you're talking about your power vacuum, right? Clown, well, not Clown and Grows, that's the former duo, Grows and Shizo. See, I'm in the autopilot, he's not with Clown anymore, but Grows and Shizo, they have been very powerful playing on those mid and low layers, right?
Yeah.
The key to sort of how they've been able to just get so many eliminations is just the control that they garner, right? In those zone transitions, just absolutely wiping people out, a bit of piece control. That's the kind of stuff that gets Reese excited, That's his thing,
Piece control, Reese control. I can't see the difference between two of those at all. Main thing too for Shizo specifically, and Podosai and Snazy, Floki Clement not being in this game. They just soak up so many points, and the best low ground positions the fastest, I feel like, towards the end game. And they're not going to be here. So a lot of these front runners for this qualifier that we've seen so far in the first 3 games, unavailable to show up to this media day, this game 4. As a result, the gaps must be filled. And we asked for a little bit of that north zone. Didn't really happen. It's better than the complete desert, right? But it can still pull down.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I used to have all the connections back in the day, Shia, man. Shia used to say something, it used to just happen, on the spot, but he's lost his juice a little bit, clearly.
Hey, just wait for it, man. I've figured out the tech. You don't want to waste the juice on the qualifiers,
Oh, yeah.
The zone pulling juice. For the finals, just trust. I have the easy pulls left and right. Recent Hoop also talking about Krusty and Relvis that last game. Their pinches, the dynamic duo not even being inside boxes, just rattling on walls, looked very good when, things are out of control. They're very good at sorting out the chaos. When they have a little bit of peace and quiet, though, they crumble under the thought process of what to do is my question. Still seeing how loud Tayson and Chapix want to be at this point as well. I think this zone pull will dictate exactly how fast they're going to be able to play this end game. And right now, yeah, they get to just slow things down, dictate exactly who goes where. This is marketability, right? I mean, this is unfair.
Is Tayson the new Benji?
Tayson's the new Benji. I mean, Benji's in this lobby, man.
Oh, goodness. Wow. This is interesting. Because obviously, as much as they've been pretty solid and they've not had many issues, right? We did see last game when they went towards Greasy, they weren't able to get enough surge tags and they were sort of teetering along that line of being above surge. And so this time around, they may need to just get a bit more aggressive in that regard and trying to make sure that they have no concerns when it comes to surge. Of course, the zone very much favors them, and so I do expect to see them making some sort of play for height as long as the zones continue to favor them, I guess. But in the meantime, we got Drox and Kovacs